Alrighty, we are live. So with that being said, welcome everyone to Coaster Time episode 36, hosted by me, Carrick from Coaster Hour. And for today, we will be doing, of course, a few different segments, including news, Guess the Coaster, Q&A, and a lot more, including, of course, the viewer call-ins, which is the big reason for this episode today. And this is happening because announcement season is in full bloom. We had a bunch of announcements happen, so I figured that around now would be the time to do a special viewer call-in episode. So for those of you who are watching, I do have the link to StreamYard in a description, and I'll put it pinned in the chat in a little bit. But that is going to be the plan for today's stream. It got delayed 2 hours about, I was doing some things with friends, so had to get delayed a little bit, and hopefully that won't impact the viewership too much, but I will basically be making the viewer call-in a little higher priority. I'll be doing it earlier for those of you who are on the East Coast, just because I do know that it is later for you, so that's going to be the plan. But with that being said, we're going to start off with our first 10-minute Q&A that way, so that is just going to be how we're going to get people in so that we're ready to roll in just about 10 minutes here. And that's going to be the plan. So Q&A for 10 minutes, and then we'll head into the news and then go straight into the viewer call-in. So that's going to be the plan. Once again, I apologize for the 2-hour delay, but I figured this was still a good time to do it. I would have pushed the stream tomorrow, but I am headed out of town, so that wasn't going to happen. But hopefully we'll still have some pretty awesome viewer call-ins and a great stream. So that's going to be the plan, and we'll be doing beginning of stream Q&A. I also just visited Six Flags over Georgia and Dollywood for the first time. I have not talked about it on this channel because I hadn't visited those two parks since the last time I was on here. So if you have any questions relating to that, I can answer them. We have our first question here in the chat. The Coaster Bros. So if you want to be a guest on Coaster Time, I'm going to mention this once again in the news, but I have a sort of form that those of you who are interested can fill out that is in a description. And basically, it's a form where you kind of explain who you are, why you want to come on, and it gives you a shot at coming on. It's not a guarantee, but if you fill it out, you'll have a better chance of coming on than if you don't do it. So if you're interested in coming on, I would highly recommend you fill out that form, and we'll see what happens. But once again, that's not a guarantee that you come on if you fill it out. But like I said, gives you a better chance than not filling it out. So for anyone who's interested in that, if you have not filled it out yet, make sure to do that. That is why it is there. Like I said, in the description, I will try to find it. I should have the link somewhere on here. I would like to put it here in the chat as well, because it being in the description, there's a lot of stuff in the description. So, you know, it's kind of not the easiest thing to find. So hopefully it'll come out this way, but that's the form for anyone who wants to do it. So yeah, but any questions you have, let me know, and then we'll be going into the news, like I said, pretty much immediately at we're gonna say 6:20. So yep, that is the plan. But I guess I'll go into my Six Flags over Georgia sort of thoughts and Dollywood thoughts as well. So I went to over Georgia a little less than 2 weeks ago now, just about, and it was my first time ever going, and I had a pretty good day there with my favorite coaster being Goliath. Goliath ended up being my favorite, which was a bit of a surprise because I wasn't a big fan of Diamondback, so it was like I wasn't sure if I was gonna enjoy Goliath that much, but I thought Goliath was a lot better, a lot more varied of a layout. It does have a rattle to it, but it didn't bother me too much. It was a really good hypercoaster, really good floater. The ending airtime hills had some really good ejector, and the downward helix is really good. It is really intense, so that was a pleasant surprise. And I thought the ride was really good. And my second favorite coaster of this trip Twisted Cyclone was also very good, just too short. The moments it has was great, but it's just too short in my opinion. The pacing was great on it. The first drop too actually caught me by surprise. I think it's not quite exactly straight, if I'm correct. At least that's what it feels like. It definitely has like an extra kick to it. And I also really enjoyed the wave turn on it. That was pretty sick. And most of the airtime hills, you got just crazy ejector on it. So it was really good for what it was. It just was very short, but I did think it was very good. Monster Mansion, I did do it twice, so that should tell you that I liked it. And yeah, I actually would say it was my fourth favorite ride overall at the park. It's very charming, and it is very much like a classic dark ride, but it's, I guess it's not a classic, but it has that classic feel. And the quality of it was very good as well. Just, you wouldn't expect a ride like that to be at a park like Six Flags Over Georgia. So it definitely was really nice, a really nice ride overall, with just a lot to look at and everything. So nice long ride indoors. Twisted Cyclone kind of went into it. Very good. I do rank it slightly ahead of Joker, just barely, so for whatever that's worth. But I did very much enjoy it. Did I get any weather delays? Not at Over Georgia. At Dollywood, I actually ended up going not quite 2 days, but I went the night before and then the day after. The night before, an hour into it, we basically got stormed out, which kind of sucked, but I got my 2 rides on Lightning Rod, which for me, that was what I was looking for. And then the next day, there was a short little weather delay that probably lasted 30 minutes. But we ate at a restaurant and it was no big deal. So it wasn't that big of an issue, thankfully, but there were a few in there. But I got 11 rides overall in Lightning Rod, which Lightning Rod is pretty incredible. Not my favorite coaster in the world, but it is very much up there. The pacing of it is absolutely relentless, and there is just so... there weren't that many, there's not that many elements on it if you really look at it, but all the ones it has are really high quality, so it was a phenomenal coaster and one of my all-time favorites for sure, especially at night. That was really where I thought it shined, so I was very happy with Lightning Rod, for sure, which at one time used to be my most anticipated coaster to ride. It had kind of fallen off before I had ridden it, but it was still very good, in my top 5 overall, so very much enjoyed it. Do you need to tell me in my Discord? No. I have a link. It's a Google Forms link, and you click on it, you fill it, and that's it. That's pretty much all you need to do if you're wanting to become a guest. It doesn't have to do anything with Discord. Like I said, just the Google Forms link. It's in the description. I just put it in the chat. So that's pretty much... when you do... Oh, no, the thing is through StreamYard. If you do the viewer call-ins is going to be... tonight is going to basically be the same software and way you would do it if you were a guest. So that's how that works. So, yeah. Thoughts on what's going on with Six Flags as a company? We're going to get to that in the news because it was a little bit too much for me not to talk about. I was willing to give the new CEO a chance. I was like, I know a lot of people were unhappy with it, but I'm like, you know what, we'll give him a chance. I know he's, doing some things that not a whole lot of people liked, especially with the raising of prices, but I thought some of the things were justified. The unlimited dining pass that needed to be either hyped to the moon or probably gone because the value was, I think, just it was a little ridiculous there. And season passes needed to be raised a little bit because I mean, it was pretty much a steal for anyone getting it, and I know I certainly took advantage of it for many years. But what they have done is taken it to a level that is just, it doesn't make any sense, the prices. And just sort of the way the CEO talks about Six Flags and like comparing it to Walmart and Target and all this stuff is very weird. I don't think this is good. If I had to be completely honest, I think this guy's probably out within a year. I know he did mention that this is a transition year that'll give him some time for sure, but things are not looking great right now. Maybe I'm wrong and things will turn around. I very much highly doubt it. So things are not looking great in my opinion. So that's my sort of thoughts on it there. But yeah, so I think those are the questions. It is 6:21, so that means we're gonna go right into the news. We're getting some more people in. That's good to see. And yeah, if that one comment that happened in the internal calls is true, that's really bad. I will also say that was just terrible. That was really bad. So I also do not endorse that. But with that being said, we're gonna head into the news, and we're gonna go straight into our ride opening since my last stream. Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger has opened, and I've heard mostly pretty good things about it. Nice to see it open as well. Obviously one of the bigger coasters here in America to open this year, so very exciting to see. I haven't heard about the theming, how good it is, but I'm sure it's great. And then Old Rye Motorbike Factory at Rye Playland, which is America's first technical park sidecar flat ride, has opened as well. So those are your ride openings. And then in terms of ride reopenings, you have Wood Coaster at P&E Playland has finally reopened from a major refurb, and Big Loop at Heidi Park, which had to get its trains refurbished, that is also reopened. So there are your sort of reopenings there. Next, we have opening dates. Scene 75 in Chicago, or the Chicagoland area, which is a family entertainment center that is going to have an SBF Fiesta spinner, is opening on August 17th. If you're around there, it's a new credit and a new place to visit. So that's pretty much all I'm going to say there. And then in terms of construction updates, we have a few things, and huge shout out to these content creators for allowing me to use their pictures. The Mauer Skyloop at Goombaya World has gone vertical. Huge thanks to Midi Theme Parks on Instagram. Make sure to follow them if you haven't already. They do updates on the parks in Australia, so definitely make sure to check them out. And also we found B&M Wing Track at Legoland in Germany. Believe it or not, yes, you heard that right. Track has gone on site for their B&M Wing Coaster. It's going to be more family oriented, but that is something that's actually happening. If you did not know, not officially confirmed, but concept art and other things have leaned toward it. So, and that is from Nino on Instagram. Make sure to check them out as well. And then of course we have the S&S Scream and Swing at Busch Gardens, Tampa, that has gone vertical as well. Also not officially confirmed that it's a Scream and Swing, but very likely to be, just based off the structure and previous things. And that is from Charlie Andre on Instagram. I think I got that right. And I didn't put a picture in here, but I also wanted to mention that the Parque Warner Madrid Intamin is confirmed to be Batman themed. They confirmed that on their social media. So there you go. Next, we have our ride testing, and Leviathan at SeaWorld Australia has finally tested. Good to see. I wasn't able to see much of the testing footage. I believe it came out when I was on vacation, but this is a really good looking ride, so I can't wait for people to get to ride it and to hear all about it. So that is pretty much going to be that. Next, we have our ride delays. We have ArieForce 1, which was revealed in an article to be delayed 8 months due to county requests. This was revealed on Amusement Today, actually. And the opening time frame is unknown, though it is said that construction will be completed by the fall. So we don't know when it's going to open, but obviously it's been delayed to some extent. Matugani at Lost Island Theme Park is getting delayed to 2023. The park confirmed this through a DM of all things. And the reason being is that Intamin cannot come out for the commissioning or testing until September, which is too late. And Liberty Twirlers at California's Great America has likely been delayed to 2023, as it was listed in the press release for Cedar Fair's 2023 editions. So those are your ride delays. Also something for Great America, something that not a lot of people mentioned. This was also in the report from Cedar Fair. They are going to year-round weekend operations, which is definitely nice to see. It definitely seems like, at least for next year, California's Great America will be running decently well, which is very nice to see that they're not going to try to pick it apart immediately. So good to see. Next, we're going to move the ride closures. We, of course, have Wildcat at Hershey Park on the top left, which actually there's already been construction work going on there as well. RMC crates have been spotted on site, so I wanted to mention that. But of course, as for the actual coaster, that is going to be pretty much that it's a very obviously major coaster for GCI, their first ever, and it means a lot just for wooden coasters in general. So unfortunate to see it go, but that's just kind of how things go. Plants vs. Zombies at Carowinds is also gone on the bottom left. Yo-Yo on the bottom right has also gone, which is a flat ride. And Southern Star, which was the inverting starship, I believe is what the ride model is called, that is also closed, though some people believe it might return, but there's nothing to indicate that's happening as far as I'm aware. So those are your ride closures. I mentioned Aquaman Power Wave was getting delayed in the last stream, so that's why I didn't have it here, but yes, that's another significant delay. Next, we have our Cedar Fair announcement extravaganza, as I like to call it. Canada's Wonderland has announced 2 new rides for next year. Tundra Twister, which is unofficially the world's first Mondial avalanche. If you look up a video of the model, it lines up with this concept art. Regardless, a very cool looking flat ride and very unique looking one. And then you also have Snoopy's Racing Railway, which also doesn't have a confirmed manufacturer to it, but based off concept art, it appears to be an Art Engineering family launch coaster, which is the manufacturer of another family launch coaster at Fantasiana that goes through its layout twice, which it looks like this one will do as well. So those are your 2 new attractions there. You also have Carowinds with their new Aeronautica landing area for 2023. They will be getting 4 new rides and 1 rethemed one. Air Racer, the Zamperla Air Race. Gear Spin, a Zamperla Nebulas. Airwalker, which is a Zamperla skater, which is on the top right. And Gyro Force, which is a, I believe it's pronounced Trapon type of ride. That's at least what I saw it listed as, but a unique flat ride there. And then the Dodgems have been renamed and rethemed to Hover and Dodge, but those were already there. So that is what Carowinds is getting, a very nice looking new area with a lot of cool looking new rides. Next we have Cedar Point. They have announced the Boardwalk, and within the Boardwalk, the new area, they will be getting, of course, the Grand Pavillion, which will be the large restaurant and building that'll be kind of the centerpiece for the area. Looks really nice, and it's great to have a large indoor area to eat and hang out. You also have Wild Mouse, which is a Zamperla Twister freeform coaster, just kind of a modified version of their spinning Wild Mouse. So that is very cool to see. And then you also have the relocation of Matterhorn and Scrambler to this area, which Scrambler is going to be called Atomic Scrambler now. And Tiki Twirl, which is another flat ride they have, will be rethemed and renamed to Calypso. So a very nice looking new area for Cedar Point. And they did get a new coaster, even if it was something that maybe was a little unexpected for some people. But very nice to see them get this entire new area as a whole. It's definitely a pretty nice thing to do. Next, we have Knott's Berry Farm. They have announced the Fiesta Village revamp for 2023, which will include a complete overhaul of the area. As you can see in the concept art on the right, they're going to be doing a lot of things to make it look a lot nicer, which is great to see. And then you also have Montezooma's Revenge, which will be reborn and named Montezooma the Forbidden Fortress, which is on the left. And that one is actually said to have, the park says that it will have randomized launch sequences. Exactly what that means is yet to be determined. The assumption is that there might be a turntable or something that determines whether you go forward or backward, which I assume that's probably what it's going to be, which is definitely really interesting. But it definitely looks like Montezooma is in for quite a change in terms of the ride experience. So that is something that I look forward to checking out whenever it opens next year. On a side note, Knott's Berry Farm is also overhauling their Knott's Berry Farm Hotel for next year. That was like sort of a little thing that was announced on the side in the Cedar Fair report. And last, but certainly not least for the Cedar Fair stuff, we have Worlds of Fun. They have announced Zambezi Zinger, which is a spiritual replacement to their Schwarzkopf coaster of the same name. But this one, of course, being a GCI Titan Track / wooden coaster. It's actually mostly wooden, but it has Titan Track sections with a spiral lift and a specific turn. Which is pretty cool, and it's really awesome to see this ride get built. Even though it's not exactly what people probably were expecting, it's such a unique ride. We've never seen a wooden coaster or really hybrid coaster like this, and it looks really fun. So I'm excited to eventually have the opportunity to check it out whenever that may be. And this is a huge stepping stone for GCI and Skyline Attractions, being able to get the Titan Track out there on a ground-up coaster, and of course the Infinity Flyer trains as well, which I'm sure will be fantastic. So that's definitely extremely exciting. Next, we have another announcement. This comes from Dollywood. They have announced Big Bear Mountain, which will be a new for 2023 Vekoma Family Launch Coaster. The most expensive attraction in park history and the longest coaster at the park. The ride will include extensive theming and onboard audio as well. This is definitely an interesting addition. I would have thought they would have went for a motorbike, but they ended up going with this. My assumption with that is that perhaps older riders maybe didn't necessarily, that might scare them off, which I guess is plausible. Dollywood has a lot of older visitors. So I could see that being something. And also the onboard audio, maybe that would be tougher to incorporate because the only two motorbike coasters that have had onboard audio on them, as far as I know, are two of the most expensive coasters ever built. So that might have been a factor, but it looks like a really fun new ride. And I think for families and them kind of becoming more of a resort, it makes sense why they would add it, even if it's kind of similar to a Fire Chaser Express in some ways. I still think it will be a different enough ride to be quite enjoyable. Next, we have Adventureland Iowa. They have announced Flying Viking, which is a Zamperla Junior coaster, and Draken Falls, which is a Zamperla Log Flume for 2023. Kind of a similar combination to what Luna Park got or is getting this year. So that's cool to see. For sure. And it's a nice addition for this park, especially it looks like the theming aspect's actually going to be pretty good. So that's very nice to see, and it seems to be another good addition for Adventureland, which is kind of sort of, I guess, finding itself again under new ownership. So that is definitely good to see. Next, we're moving on to sort of a interesting thing. So we didn't get an announcement related to Top Thrill Dragster. However, there has been some activity since the last stream. Markers have been spotted near Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point. Huge credit to Element of the Ride for this. This was from his footage. This is just a still frame from it. So, but huge credit for him for letting me use it. And then we also have the lights that have been turned on for the first time this season. They were turned on earlier this month. And huge credit here to Fresh J McFly 17 on Twitter for allowing me to use it, the picture. So that is your update there. This definitely seems like a good sign. If anything, I would hope that this means that Dragster is probably coming back. These things seem like good signs, so I'm hoping that's the case. We'll kind of have to wait and see what happens, though. And I hope we get an announcement in the near future. Was a little bummed we didn't get anything with the Boardwalk announcement, but we'll see what happens. Next, we have this thing, and that is that green B&M wing coaster track. We know it's wing because it's labeled WI, has been spotted at B&M's fabrication plant. We don't know where this thing is going. Some people believe it is going to be for Chessington's wing coaster, which they are getting. But some other people have argued otherwise. We really don't know. It's unconfirmed. We'll have to kind of see what happens with this ride, or this track, I should say. But definitely something to keep an eye on for sure. Next, we have Funtown Splashtown USA. They are teasing a new for 2023 attraction. This is the Leak Dark Ride that we already know of thanks to park fans. But for the majority of people, they won't know what this is. And a dark ride for a park like this is definitely going to be a really good addition. So can't wait to learn more about it. And it's really cool that a park that is, I think, from my understanding, on the smaller side like this one, is getting something as kind of, I guess, dynamic as a dark ride. So that is very cool to see. Next, we have RES, or Ride It Engineers Switzerland. They revealed that they are building a 5th rollerball coaster. The location for this one is also unknown. This was revealed in Amusement Today when they were talking about Fireball. They also mentioned that there's a 5th coaster of this model being built. So guess we'll have to wait and see where this goes. But good to see that this model is doing pretty well. Next, we have Technical Park. They've unveiled a new flat ride, the Flying Dutchman, which is basically a sort of it's almost like a flying scooters attraction, but on a tower. So that's definitely a really interesting concept. It'll be interesting to see if anyone picks this thing up. I hope we do see it because it looks pretty cool. But yeah, definitely a cool looking flat ride, and it's great to see a little bit of innovation, but also taking what we already know and works with this new flat ride. So yeah. Next, we have Niagara Amusement Park. They are teasing the return of Silver Comet. Good to see that they're doing it. We'll have to wait and see when exactly it'll come back, but very good looking CCI wooden coaster, and so I can't wait to see it come back for sure. So that's pretty much all I'm going to say there. And we're heading into our kind of final stretch of news topics, with that being a bit of a more obscure one, and that is that animatronic manufacturer High Motion, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, has shut down after 78 years due to financial difficulties. The company created animatronics for many rides, including Arthur at Europa Park and King Kong at Babylon Land, which a lot of that ride's appeal is the animatronic, if you've ever seen a picture or video of it. But they were involved with a lot of other projects, mostly in Europe from what I could gather. So very unfortunate to see. So I figured it might as well kind of give them a little tribute here by mentioning them because they have done quite a lot of work in the amusement industry. Next, we have Edaville Family Theme Park. This is a little theme park in Massachusetts. They have 2 coaster credits, and they have finally found a new owner. They were in search of one, and they found a new owner and operator, which should hopefully ensure a more secure future for the park as the current owner retires. So that is that. If you live around there, good to hear. That's, I guess, something to note, I suppose, and this is definitely good to hear for a small park like this, so very good. Next, we have the Six Flags thing. So what is happening with Six Flags exactly? So supposedly Six Flags, they let go of 5 park presidents from St. Louis, over Georgia, Great Adventure, America, and New England recently, which is obviously very unfortunate. I hope all these people, if they were let go, are able to get jobs in other places very soon. I imagine they are quite talented in their field, so best of luck to them. But within Six Flags, there is also believed to be a lot of frustration, and calls for Salim Basul, the CEO, to step down have been made in various places by anonymous people online, and I believe within the company. Yesterday's, I guess it wasn't yesterday. Oh wait, yeah, I guess, was it? Yeah, I guess yesterday it was. So the earnings call disappointed a lot of people, which led to the Six Flags stock to plummet. And Basul stated that adding new rides wouldn't be a priority for the next 2 years, which is definitely something. There's really a lot more you could mention and go into, but like I said, I was willing to give the new CEO a shot, just because I figured maybe there would be a good plan he would have, and we just kind of needed to sit a little bit and see it play out. But I think after hearing some of the quotes he has, and some of the things he said, I think he's not a good fit, and the decisions being made I don't think are really the best. I think there's some good ideas, the single rider lines and stuff, but the price hikes have been just too much, and it appears they want to make Six Flags something that's even more like expensive than Cedar Fair parks and whatnot, which and raising their prices a lot without actually making the improvements to justify it. So this is obviously not good. We'll see what happens with Six Flags in the future. Next, we have 2 rumors, and one of which being that according to RCDB, Southport Pleasureland in the UK is still getting a new coaster, which will be in 2024 at this point, it sounds like. But it won't be a Zamperla Thunderbolt as originally thought. It had been originally, I believe, leaked and reported in places that that was what they were getting. But according to RCDB, the general manager actually said that was not happening. Take it for, I guess, take that as you will, pretty much. But it's good to hear that this park is getting a new coaster. Because their collection is pretty small, but it's always great to see a smaller park get new coasters, so good to see. And lastly, this is probably an out-of-date rumor, but I decided to put it in here, Screamscape rumor, and that is that Six Flags Great America is planning to get an RMC Raptor in the near future, and they are potentially considering adding another large coaster at a later time, with candidates supposedly being a B&M Dive and Intamin, or an Intamin Giga coaster. If this had any merit to it, I honestly think it's probably kind of dead now, or something that's going to be delayed a while. And honestly, I really don't think this is anything legit. But that's just my thoughts on this whole thing. I just think this is a little too optimistic for that. So yeah, so that is pretty much it for the news. In terms of channel announcements, as I mentioned, we have some people who have asked about coming on the stream and the show. If you're interested in becoming a Coaster Time guest, make sure to fill out the self-request form in the description. Filling out the form, as I mentioned, does not guarantee you will come on, but it gives you a better chance of coming on than if you didn't fill out the form, if that makes sense. So make sure to fill it out if you're wanting to come on. And the link to that is in the description. And I'll actually once again put it in here in the chat just to have it in here. So there you go. Make sure to fill it out if you haven't already. And that's pretty much it there. So that is the sort of news roundup. And now we're actually going to go, I'm going to change the format of this from what I had earlier. It's pretty late for you guys over on the East Coast, so I will start actually allowing or bringing on people for viewer call-ins. So if you want to come on the stream, give your thoughts on the announcements. That is pretty much going to be the plan there, and I guess I'll go more into it. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself when you come on here, ask what your news reactions are, or what piece of news or pieces of news stood out to you the most that it's happened recently, and then ask for your predictions for the future. So that is the plan. Here is the the invite link form, which is going to be pinned in chat. It's also in a description, and we'll get started on this pretty quickly here. So that is going to be the plan there. We already have the ambassador in the backstage, so good to see. And I guess I'll bring you on in just a second here. Just make sure that everything's good. And then that'll be pretty much that. So if you want to come on, as I mentioned, make sure to click the StreamYard invite link. And that's going to be the plan. Alrighty, so looks like the ambassador is ready. So I'm going to bring you on a 3-second countdown. So I'm going to bring you on in 3, 2, 1. How are you doing?
That's how they do it in the studios, man. Hey, what's up, dude? Nice to see you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Good
Wonderful.
to see you.
Good to see you too. Got my my little buddy here who may or may not pop in and out of camera. So just FYI. We'll wait, bud. Yeah. All right, anyway.
That's cool.
So what's new, man? I'm glad. Thanks for letting me come on your stream.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess my first sort of question is that out of all the news or out of the announcements, what are the ones that sort of piqued your interest the most or stood out to you the most, and why?
You know, I kind of feel like this latest news round is kind of interesting because it's like there's nothing super groundbreaking, but at least it is something. So I kind of caught myself kind of just not caring, but I know that's kind of like the wrong attitude to have, because it's like, no, we're, things are happening. It's better than like, Cedar Fair and Six Flags announce nothing. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I mean, I think it's interesting what Cedar Point is doing. And I laugh because every time I see the concept art, it really looks like it's like basically Coaster Tycoon 1, you know? Like, I'm like, did they just do a screenshot from that? No, it's some sort of concept art. There he is. Okay, buddy. But it's interesting that they're getting a wild mouse. I don't know. I like the whole idea that it's a boardwalk and, stuff like that. But it's just like, I don't know. Do you brag about a spinning coaster? I mean, I don't know. I guess so. What do you think?
It's the first of its kind, I believe. I think it's the first Twister freeform, so for whatever that's worth. But
I don't know. I think I've ridden that at the State Fair. I think I've ridden that exact same roller coaster. But no, it's fine. I mean, nowadays in the industry, and I don't want to sound too much like a pessimist, but it's like first of its kind can mean like, we have a train that's like, lavender. It's first of its kind. It's like, okay. You know what I mean? Like I kind of like miss. I mean, I guess Dr. Diabolical was at least something big, B&M coming back to Six Flags and being Beyond Vertical. I mean, that was cool, but I want more of that kind of stuff. But obviously I get it. It's all financial, with this everything going on with Six Flags and stuff like that. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting complacent. I kind of want to be wowed a lot more, and I just haven't been recently.
That I understand it. It's fair. I was I think telling somebody that with the announcements happening, this definitely seemed to be the year, at least in America, the year of the family coaster in terms of all the additions. So it's kind of interesting that way that a lot of those additions we're seeing are very much more family oriented and catered. So that definitely was something that stood out to me.
Yeah, and also with the Dollywood stuff, because I was at Dollywood probably like a couple of days before you were. It's kind of funny. Like I missed Airtime Thrills by like 12 hours. Pretty funny.
Wow.
But yeah, seeing the construction for Big Bear Mountain was interesting. Because I knew where it was, right there in Wildwood Grove, and looking at it, and it's going to be a cool setting. I think the ride will be fun. I know a lot of people are kind of like bummed by it, but it's like, I think it's going to be kind of cool. Like for example, Manta at SeaWorld San Diego. I had like zero expectations for that when I went and rode it. And then when I came off it, I was like, this is a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, no inversions or anything like that, but has a nice launch, and it has so I think that it'll probably be a similar surprise to people.
Yeah, I could see that. I hadn't even like sort of applied I've ridden Manta too, and I really like it. So, and that was another for me as well. It surprised me because I had like heard nothing heading into it, and it's like, oh wow, this ride actually is really fun. So I think in that way you're right. I think a lot of people will be surprised pleasantly of how good the ride is. So I could see that.
And and it's these new gen Vacomas. I'm glad to see more of them come this way. Obviously Dragonflyer, which is right next door, which is a new gen. That ride completely surprised me. For being a family coaster with such a low height requirement. How about we talk to a kid? What did you think about Dragonflyer, buddy? You don't want to talk? Well, he thought it was going to be a wing. He thought it was going to be a flying coaster like B&M.
Oh, okay.
But he really liked it, and the first drop is surprisingly more than I thought it was going to be. So the point, let me bring it back full circle, is that these new gen Vacomas, what they consider family coasters, are pretty cool, and it's good to see, because Vacoma was at the bottom of my list for a very long time. So it's cool. It's cool to see. I like to see that resurgence.
Yeah, for sure. And it's especially now, it is very nice that we are seeing new gen Vacomas at more parks that aren't just Disney, because Disney's been working with them forever. So you always knew they were going to get their stuff. But now that we're seeing Dollywood, they did Dragonflyer, obviously. And now like Big Bear Mountain is a huge stepping stone, like sort of investment, and like a pretty major Vacoma coaster to be coming to America. So hopefully it'll inspire more.
And it's one that can be cloned, whereas we speak of Disney in the Vacoma relationship, but it's like every single coaster that they build is bespoke. It's like, I know from firsthand knowledge, I know one of the ride engineers for Guardians of the Galaxy, he said that ride took 8 years.
Oh wow.
It's like, that's insane. It's like, but it's Disney, that's like, and it's very bespoke. They're not going to make, Vacoma's not going to just offer that model for any other park outside of Disney, if that makes sense. So it's cool to see like Big Bear Mountain, and also some of these cool ones, and I forget their model names, but some of these new gens that are like Abyssus and things like that. Would love to start seeing them come into the United States.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're not too far off, especially with Big Bear Mountain and Circuit Breaker coming soon. I think more people are going to be looking their way.
Circuit Breaker is going to be interesting. It'll definitely be. I mean, at first I would have told you that it's not going to be very fun. It's going to be like a boomerang. But now with the new gen Vekomas, I'm like, no, it's probably going to be more than just a one-trick pony. It'll probably be pretty good. I forget about that one. I always forget about that.
It's easy to forget when it's the second coaster, big coaster they're getting, in the first one. They haven't hardly done any construction with it, so it's kind of interesting in that way.
And hardly any media on it as well. It's like it took like Upstop Media and Coaster Force and stuff like that visiting in person for anybody to get some sort of update on that. It's like, hey, Codaland, you want to hire Coaster Time here to be your social media guy? Because they're totally tuned in right now.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. It is really funny. I also have looked into like their social media and everything, and it's like just empty. They haven't even put, I think, like, I don't even know. I think at this point they probably have put out a Facebook post about Palindrome at least. But it's like they've hardly done anything. It's not on their website either, and their website's like really barren. So it's kind of interesting how they're handling that, but I'm sure they'll get the ball rolling at some point. So, but it is kind of interesting.
You've got millions of us enthusiasts waiting with bated breath. I mean, why not take advantage of that? I mean, you look at some companies like what Kentucky Kingdom did for a while with their socials, or like, even Knott's Berry Farm to an extent. You can have a lot of fun with the social engagement, and it really does bring positive attention to whatever you got going on.
Yeah, for sure. At least some like Kentucky Kingdom and actually even like Universal, I think, kind of mastered it.
Universal's killing it right now.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it is kind of interesting. It's such a big part of kind of bringing people in and everything, and it's something they're not really doing right now, which is definitely pretty weird. But like I said, at some point they'll probably get it going. But yeah. So I guess I'll move on to my second thing. Do you have any potential predictions for the future, either things you'd like to see or that you could potentially see happen in terms of new projects or things of that sort?
Predictions are always fun, especially when it's being recorded and stored online in the ether for everyone to watch back and, gotcha. But I can say things that I would like to see. I'm going to circle back to kind of what you said about giving the new CEO a chance of Six Flags. I actually saw him. I saw him in person at Magic Kingdom, and he was. I mean, it impressed me with what he was doing. He was completely dressed normal, and he was just with one other person, like I don't know, some supervisor or something like that at Magic Mountain. And he had a big notebook, like this. And he was just walking around, and he was like asking questions. He was taking all these notes. And I said, "That's awesome." To me, someone who's putting pen to paper and like, trying to see things happen. And then just immediately after that, I started seeing like the new park benches at Magic Mountain. Just all of a sudden, all these brand new park benches started arriving. The picnic table started arriving. Shade everywhere just started arriving, and like flowers being planted. And I said, "Oh my gosh, this is great! Things are happening." He probably came in and said, "This is supposed to be the flagship park. Let's move things around." And then all the other stuff started happening. I don't run a corporation, so I can't pretend to know that I know what it takes to do it. But yeah, it's interesting to hear what's happening. But I can tell you that I was grateful to see what was put in. So I'm going to predict and actually hope that there is a silver lining there, that when all the dust settles, hopefully there's just been some new infrastructure improvements at all the Six Flags parks, if not, the big major ones. Just things like repairing concrete or repairing asphalt, or, planting trees or planting plants, because I know we all want new rides, but, I'm okay to take a year off if they just invested, the multi-million-dollar investment into infrastructure. Like it would, it wouldn't bother me at all, and then being at Magic Mountain, again, I talk about Magic Mountain a lot, because I just live down the street. So, but I saw them surveying the plaza, the entrance plaza, and the ticket booth. They had a bunch of surveyors there, and I was able to see a little, a little paper that said, new plaza on it. I'm like, I mean, that
would be huge awesome. For that park. Yeah.
But, it's needed, but it's like, at the same time, I get it. Like, the money doesn't just appear out of nowhere. And so if raising the price on things or getting rid of some things here and there, again, I don't want to pretend like I know how to budget for a large corporation such as an amusement park. But I just hope that at least some sort of good comes out of it. That will benefit the parks. I think the parks are gonna be fine. I don't think Six Flags is gonna like all of a sudden just die. I don't think so. But yeah. And then as far as like things I'd like to see, I don't know, that gig at Knott's Berry Farm to be real, because you're all sad about that. No, I would like to see Cedar Point really come up with something cool. I don't know where they would put it, but I mean, with Dragsters, kind of, who knows what's going on? Like you said, okay, the lights got turned on, but maybe that's just so they could see where to, demo it. I don't know. I don't know. Or maybe they're showing a potential buyer like that the lights still work. I don't know. But I would like to see something like that from Cedar Point, because really it was those wars that pushed innovation. It's like, competition really is a great thing. Look between like the iPhones and the Samsung Galaxy line, they're always trying to one up each other. Or Tesla has held the market for cool electric cars. Now everybody's coming out with electric cars trying to do a little bit better. And yeah, so I would like to see something. I know it's all cost money, and that money has to come from somewhere, but I like the engine, like these with Intamin doing what they've been doing recently, where they were stagnant for such a long time. Now they've got Velocicoaster, and they've got Pantheon, and they got that one that's coming to Park of the Asterisks, stuff like that. Like that's awesome. That's excited people again. And not only because, that's intimate. That's intimate for you. They take risks. They don't care. They're just like, let's do it. Like you want to build a Strata, shuttle launch coaster at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Okay. I know it's probably Giga, but you know what I mean? Like I dig that. And I want to see, I know that RMC is doing that too, to an extent. I think RMC, and also having a personal one-on-one conversation with the CEO during the opening of Wonder Woman, I think that they're going to take a back seat for a little bit. They're going to play it safe for a little bit, and which makes sense coming off a pandemic and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see some huge innovation from them for a while. ArieForce 1 is probably going to be their last kind of big unique thing. I personally think my prediction is Wildcat's not going to be completely RMC'd. I think it's just getting 208. That's my personal opinion.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say doubt, but maybe you're on to something.
Okay, we'll see. I really don't think that they're going to change it. Again, you didn't hear this from me, but I did sit next to a certain CEO on Twisted Colossus and asked him a lot of questions.
Okay.
But that's just, again, that's a prediction. So what's the timestamp? Everybody, 7:03 on August 12th, 2022. Going back to the live stream and let me have it if I'm completely wrong.
Oh, for me, that's already kind of happened with Wildcat. I didn't think it was getting RMC.
Oh, that's right. That's a sore subject for you. I forgot about that.
Yep. No, it's all good. I lost. Well, I'm still waiting for the official announcement, but I've lost $25 off it. Not much, but and hey. I was pretty confident on that too. So everyone's gonna be like, everyone's gonna get on me for that, but it's all right. It's all part of the fun. So. Yeah,
it's all good. So what? Let's see. And I'd also like to see, this is going to kind of sound deep, but maybe it's just because I'm an old guy. I'd also like to see a lot more positivity coming back into the coaster community. I feel like, and it could very well be the pandemic or whatever, or, who knows what, but it seems like there's been like a lot of like, I don't want to use the word toxicity, but, just a lot of negativity that's kind of been floating around recently. And, it's enough to make me kind of just feel a little bit sad because, we're here to all have fun. That's why I like coming on, your show. That's why I like, have my show that happens as well. We come together and we talk about something that we enjoy. And it's okay every now and then to get salty. That's just a human nature. But I don't know. I don't know if you've seen it too, man. I've seen a lot of just like online and comments and stuff like that. Just a lot of people I don't know, too much negativity. And, let's get back to what originally wanted to, why we wanted to join these communities was to just share common interest and bolster each other up, because really some of the best times you can have is just being at a park with a bunch of people who love roller coasters and you're just having a good time. It's okay if you disagree about whether or not you like a ride. I mean, that's fine. But just let's not put people down. Let's build people up and, be a positive force in the world. I know that sounds like I'm such a boomer or something like that.
No, I understand what you mean. I understand where you're coming from, and I totally agree. I mean, I've seen it too, like on YouTube comments and Reddit posts and things of that sort. Yeah, there is quite a bit of negativity out there, although Reddit is Reddit, so.
Yeah, that's right. But, that's a lot of it's on me too. Like, why am I going there if that's where it is? True. But, to anybody who's watching and listening, let's just build each other up. And if there's somebody that's bothering you or somebody whose opinion you disagree with, just unfollow them. It's so easy. You don't need to unfollow or unsubscribe and live in peace.
Yeah, there you go. I think that's definitely a good way to go about things. To circle back to what you were saying about the Six Flags CEO, mm-hmm. I was a little harsh on him earlier, so. But what I will say is, I do think there are some good things. I mentioned the single rider lines. Now I know that the execution, I've heard mixed things, but the fact that they're there is a very good thing, and I'm very happy to see those being implemented in the first place. And I do want to see things like Shade, especially at Magic Mountain, get incorporated. So I think there are definitely some things that I think that hopefully, I think there's good ideas at least, and I hope things, and whatever happens, that there's still some work towards that. And I think that I'd like to see that. And as you mentioned, you don't run a corporation. I don't run a corporation, certainly. So it's always kind of a difficult place to like put your shoes into.
Yeah, and it's okay to have an opinion. I mean, you go back and watch my stories about how I am scratching my head about what's going on with the new DC area.
Yeah.
Magic Mountain. It just doesn't look, I don't know. But the thing is, though, at the end of the day, it's okay to question. It's okay to kind of what's going on. But at the end of the day, it's open and we get to go and we get to ride it,
Yeah.
And we're fortunate. We're blessed that we are able to do that. I mean, not that, some people don't have that luxury, and really it is a luxury, and it really is a pleasure, just like we look around and we follow all these people who are just like traveling all around the world and all this stuff to ride roller coasters. We're basically living vicariously through all these people. And, I think that it just kind of goes back to, like, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't care if it's called, the weirdest name ever for a coaster or whatever. It's still a coaster, and it's still, I mean, you don't have to, it's like the whole new Montezuma's thing. Like, people are so mad that it's going to be called Montezuma's, like the Forbidden Fortress or something like that. It's like, and Hagra's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure is any better, or Wonder Woman Flight of Courage, or Wonder Woman Golden Lasso of Truth, or whatever. It's like, who cares? It's a ride.
Yeah, and those ones are at least pretty easy to get around. You can just say Hagrid's, Wonder Woman, Montezuma. You don't have to say the whole name. It's not that
Yeah,
big
and
of a deal.
Monty, or
Yeah,
yeah, and it's just, I mean, I get it. It's okay to vent. We're all human, like I said, but I think that where just what starts bothering me, it's just when the venting turns into vendetta, or just becoming mean. It's just, it's unnecessary.
yeah, I agree with that for sure.
But I'm
So
guilty. I mean, shoot, I'm guilty.
I think we all are to an extent. So, but yeah, so I definitely think we could use a lot more. We could use positivity as well. Like I said, I've seen what you mean. I've been in the coaster community for I guess 9 years now. Like kind of looking
Nice.
at things from a distance for most of it, but I've been in it. Um, but yeah, I definitely agree with you there. So yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to touch upon, I guess, or is that, I guess, I guess before we wrap it up?
I don't know. I kind of feel like I want to ask you questions, but that's just because of the nature of, like, sometimes it's always hard for me to be a guest because I start going into host mode. But
Yeah,
no, how did you like? Let's see. So Dollywood, you talked about it, but you didn't mention the cinnamon bread. Was it everything that you thought it was going to be?
yeah, this one's gonna get me killed. I thought it was. I like cinnamon rolls. I really do. I
Uh,
just thought it was a higher quality cinnamon roll.
okay.
That was my takeaway. It's quite good, but I don't think it was like the greatest thing ever or anything like that. It was
Okay.
very enjoyable, but it didn't like knock my socks off or anything like that. So
Fair. Everybody, get your
yeah,
stones. Get your stones. No, no, it's fine. It's kind of funny because, like, for me, like, the cinnamon bread was one of the only redeeming qualities of Dollywood, because my experience it's not Dollywood's fault.
weather.
It
Yeah,
was a bad day. It was a bad day when I was there. So just full of, it was so crowded. I mean, even got this, we did get the unlimited skip the lines, but it was crowded. It was hot. It was rushed. So that moment that I could sit down at Gristmill and just, like, eat, I was just like, and, like, Lightning Rod was closed for most of the day.
ugh. Did you at least get to do it, or
I did. I was able to ride it
thank
twice.
God?
It opened about 45 minutes before park closing, and we just so happened to. It's kind of a funny story. I'll say it real quick so we can wrap up. But I never got to ride the train because every single time we got on the train, something happened. So we had to make a reservation with one of the restaurants, and they said, "Okay, you have about 2 hours." Like, holy cow! So we're like, "Let's go ride the train." So we go sit on the train, and as we're sitting, they're about to depart. We get the text message that your table's ready. So we, like, jump off the train and go and eat. And then again, we're going to ride the train at the end of the night. And we just so happen to be walking past Lightning Rod. And I see it testing. I'm like, no big deal. But I see it testing with the maintenance person on it. I'm like, oh, it's going to open. And so I said, train, let's wait. And so we were literally the first person in the quick queue line. So basically I was row 2 for my first ride because I let my niece be on the front row.
All right,
But it
very
was good.
nice.
It was good. And then I was able to ride it right after that. So I mean, it did end okay, but it was the day was pretty rough. But the cinnamon bread was, it's all right. I have millions of hot takes too. Like, I mean, I don't know. I had to click switching back between StreamYard and YouTube to look at comments. But I don't know if anyone wants to hear my hot take, let me know. But he doesn't like the cinnamon bread. There's things that I don't like either that would get me killed. So.
I have Mystery Mine over Thunderhead. That's another one.
Ooh,
Yep.
yeah, interesting.
Just barely, just barely. The theming for Mystery Mine really helped. Was a lot. The whole ride experience was a lot better than I was expecting. So I was
My son loved
very
that ride. He rode that
impressed.
twice. He liked that one. I had a very surprising ride on Thunderhead. I actually had a really good ride. I was the front row, and I came off, like, it's one of those things I went in with no expectations, came off going, wow, that was way better than I thought it was going to be. Didn't like Fire Chaser Express, but my kid did.
There you go.
But yeah. Or are anybody talking? No.
Alrighty.
All right, man,
So
I'll let you go, dude.
Alrighty. It was great to have you on, and I really appreciate you coming on and talking about the news and like things you wanted to see, especially with the positivity. So, uh, yeah.
I
Real,
passed on my wisdom of my old age. But you know what I mean. There's just been too many hate towards like creators and stuff like that. It's just like, let's back off.
yeah. Alrighty. So,
Yeah.
thank you for coming on, and I'll see you next time. There we go. That was a pretty good transition, actually. But huge thanks to the ambassador for coming on. And we have the Coaster Bros in backstage. So I'm going to make sure that you're ready. And if anyone else wants to come on for viewer call-in, StreamYard link is there. But if that's not the case, this may very well be our last viewer call-in. So there we go. So with that being said, I'm going to bring you on Coaster Bros on a 3-second countdown. So with that being said, you're coming on in 3, 2, 1. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Yeah, I mean, oh wait, sorry, you go. Yeah, introduce yourself.
So my name is Mason. Yeah, and I own and operate the Coaster Bros.
That's awesome. So make sure to check them out if you haven't already.
Yeah. So my computer's kind of weird. It doesn't really have a webcam. So is this kind of okay?
Yeah, you're good. Oftentimes we'll have people who you don't have to use webcam if you don't have it. I also want to clarify that's actually a good point you bring up. So, yeah, but that's totally fine.
Yeah. Okay. So first off, so what are we gonna be talking about? I'm prepared. I'm prepared to talk about.
My first thing is going to be more for like sort of the news or the announcements. What was
news
yeah.
and the announcements? I've kind of heard most of the 2023 announcement stuff. I was watching your stream when you're doing like you're talking about the announcement, so I think I know everything for the 2023 season.
That's good, but are there any ones that like piqued your interest, especially, or that like that really interested you of any of the announcements? Like, are you really excited for maybe say Zambezi Zinger, or like just were there any ones that were interesting to you?
Well, like you said, I mean, I'm not like super hyped for like really like any of them. Like I'm hyped for like kind of all of them. Like you said, this is kind of like the year for family coasters. Like most of the coasters were family oriented. I can't speak today. I'm so sorry. Like Big Bear Mountain and like that new coaster going to Adventureland. And then we've seen some like rethemings like Montezooma's Revenge and So yeah, but the one I'm most hyped for, I'm probably most hyped for like Big Bear Mountain because I've seen some hate saying like, oh, we need a more thrilling ride. Well, first of all, it's a family coaster and you can't really expect a really thrilling ride in Wildwood Grove. So yeah. I like the fact that it's really long. Isn't that like 5,000 feet or something? I'm not really good at roller coaster stats.
It's not actually that long. I think some people thought it was going to be because it looked really long in the POV.
It was like 4,000 something.
It's
3,000.
It's 3,900 something. I'm pretty sure, but I mean, I'm not gonna go. Yeah. Official length is just under 4,000 feet, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, do you wanna? So, which announcement are we going to talk about next?
I guess at least for me, I of course. For those of you who've watched the channel, I did the interview with Tyler Mullins from Skyline Attractions. So Zambezi Zinger is kind of like, for me, the sort of big one of the bunch. So what are your thoughts on that one?
So Zambezi Zinger, I posted the announcement video onto my channel like other people did.
Yeah.
I think it's I have some thoughts on it. I like how it's unique how it has like a spiral lift hill. Like I think that's pretty unique. And I heard it's gonna have a lot of GCI Titan track on it. My like biggest problem with it, and I don't really know. It's just that it feels a little too similar to Prowler, like some of the elements, and it's like placed in like the woods. It just feels a little too similar to Prowler, but it is unique how it has a spiral lift hill. But honestly, I knew Worlds of Fun up to this point was going to get like a. I thought the shuttle wooden coaster that was supposedly going to go to Dorney Park was going to go to Worlds of Fun. Instead, I thought they switched it over. I thought they were going to do Gravity Group shuttle wooden coaster. It really surprised me that they're doing a GCI coaster. That surprises me, and I do like how they're referencing an old attraction. I really do like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of I think the project, like the actual coaster, some people would be like, and I mean, to an extent myself, I'm kind of like, you already have 2 other wooden coasters, and yeah, you have Prowler, which is also a GCI, so it makes it a little weird, but I think the spiral lift and the homage to the previous attraction makes this thing stand out. Like, it'll definitely be a different ride experience, I think, compared to the rest, and at least for me, I think it's going to be a really cool ride. It's going to be really fun. I like how it's staying really low to the ground for a lot of it. But I'm also extremely excited for the technology that they're going to have on display there with the Titan track and the Infinity Flyer trains as well, which are going to be, this is the first time they're going to be put on a coaster for the public. So that's going to be super exciting to see how that goes.
Yeah, I didn't hear about those new trains. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Do you think this ride will be better than Prowler? And also, I haven't been to Worlds of Fun. I haven't ridden Prowler, so I think it might be a tad little better. But at the same time, I feel like Prowler could be a little better. It's like a I don't really know, kind of equal for me.
I think different people are going to have different preferences. I have not ridden Prowler myself. I'm a big fan of GCI's coasters, so I think for what I'm looking for, Prowler is going to appeal more to me, but I think both are going to be really fun and good rides for sure, and you're not going to be able, like, you can't go wrong with either. So, I haven't ridden it as well as you said you hadn't, but it'll be something that I'll have to kind of decide when I'm there, I suppose, and ride them both. But they're both going to be really fun, so I don't really think it matters too much in the end, but it is something kind of an interesting conversation.
Yeah. Wait. Wait. What did you say? Oh, my dad just asked me what's the new coaster at Knott's Berry Farm. That's a refueling of Montezooma's Revenge. So okay, do you want to talk about the Montezuma thing, the Fiesta Knott's Berry Farm thing?
Sure. Yeah, you go ahead first.
So I think this is really good because from what I've seen, I feel like Fiesta Village is a little outdated. I'm glad they're giving it like an overhaul, and me and my dad said like the theming on it kind of looked like Mayan theming from like the Yucatan Peninsula. I really like the theming from what I've seen in the concept pictures. I really do like it. And I don't really know if it's going to have like a turntable or not, like to see if you're going to go backwards or forwards first. I don't really know which way they're going to do it.
It's unconfirmed. We don't really know. The assumption is turntable because that would seem to be the easiest method, but we truly don't know, I guess. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. And then I don't really know anything else, what else they're going to do with Fiesta Village. I just kind of heard about like the Montezooma thing. And of course, like January and February, we heard it was going to close down for a year. And now it makes sense. They're redoing the ride. And do you think Montezooma is going to get that new launch thing, like that coaster Europe did. I forgot what it was called. Like at Wallaby Belgium, I'm pretty sure, or Wallaby Holland. I don't really know.
Yeah, Psyche Underground. I think I don't know if it will get. I understand it got an LIM. I don't know if that's the same launch they go with, but I think it's going to get a new system because they ripped out the flywheel, and especially if they're gonna do something with a turntable, that would probably make it. I would assume that would make it pretty difficult to have a flywheel also involved with it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's going to get a new launch of some sort, probably.
Yeah. So, I think it's good. I think this will make Montezuma's Revenge better, in my opinion. I think like it's like it opened like in the
The 70s, I'd
the
like.
70s. It's getting pretty old, so I'm glad they're giving it an overhaul without removing it. Because it would be sad for them to remove it. Because we don't have a Schwarzkopf shuttle loop in America, or not yet. There's that one relocated from Mexico, like that one that had the triple loop Schwarzkopf. They had another Schwarzkopf, and that's going to Niagara Amusement Park in New York. So yeah. Also, they're reopening Silver Comet, which is glad. I thought it would reopen, so I'm glad it is. It looks like a good CCI wooden coaster.
For sure, and I'm excited to see what they're doing with Montezuma. At first, I was a little questioning it because I'm like they're gonna replace the launch, but if they're gonna do something where you can experience it either forwards or backwards, I think that makes it worth it. That's pretty exciting change for me. So I definitely appreciate it. My second thing I'm gonna ask is, do you have any predictions for the future or things you want to see in the future in the amusement industry, whether that be like a new project or something else?
I definitely want, like, I know this is kind of like unrealistic, but I definitely want more theme parks in like Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Wyoming, Oregon, Idaho, like that area of the U.S. because there's this website called coast2coaster.com. It's like a map where it shows all the coasters. And when I look at the U.S., that area of the U.S. has like not really that many coasters. And it also has a really low population, so it makes sense that it doesn't have that many coasters. But I still wish there's like more theme parks, and I wish there was like a mega theme park for that whole area. Because right now you kind of have to either go to California, fly, or go to like Valley Fair, Nickelodeon Universe.
I think that would be really nice to see. I think there are cities in those states that definitely could support something like that, but it's definitely something that would take a lot of planning and probably a lot of work to kind of figure out like logistics of all that. Like, might it have to be an indoor park because some of those places get really cold, or like there's probably a lot of things that have to be considered, but it would be really nice to see it. So I definitely agree there.
And on the weather part of it, I think, well, they could, just like open it during the summer, like northern parks, like in New York or the East or Canada's Wonderland. They're not open for most of the year. They're only open for from May to September, and then they might throw in a Halloween event and a Christmas event. Like they stay open for a little bit, and then they'll close for the rest of the year. I think we could see that, or an indoor park would be nice, but I don't really know where you would do that because the indoor theme parks I'm thinking of, I've only been to the Adventure Dome. That's connected to a hotel, so I don't really know where they would put an indoor theme park at. I don't really know.
I imagine there's ways, although yeah, you bring up a good point. Adventure Dome connected to a hotel, the Nickelodeon Universe parks connected to a giant mall. You don't usually see a indoor park by itself, at least of a large one that I can think of. So that is a good point.
Yeah, I don't think I can think of a single indoor amusement park by itself. I just really, I can't think of anything like that. Maybe like in a different country, but in the U.S., I don't think there's anything like that. Like all the Nickelodeon Universe parks are in massive malls, And then Adventure Dome's connected to Circus Circus, so yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that definitely, I never had thought of it that way. So that's actually a cool, that's a very good thing you brought up there. But yeah, I once again I agree. We really should see like at least some like kind of big park, if not a few parks in that area that people can visit, because it would it's quite difficult to access parks if you live in that sort of Pacific Northwest to sort of just Northwest region of the U.S. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, what type of coasters would you like to see at parks across America?
I get. Oh, okay. So,
More of, I don't know. Wait, more of what?
I'd love to see a new gen Vekoma Flyer. So
Yeah.
that'd be nice to see. I think I think that's my that and a mock hyper. Those are the two that I'd love to see that we have not seen yet. What are some that you would like to see or would like to see more of, I suppose?
I would like to see more new generation Vekomas, like intimate a Vekoma Bermuda Blitz, or like a Firestorm or something. I would like to see more of those, because now we're getting like some Vekoma family coasters, and we got Circuit Breaker, which is the tilt coaster at the Circuit of the Americas. That's good, but I want to see like more. They're more traditional swooping coasters, like We've only seen them in like Europe and Asia, which is a shame. I wish they'd come to North America faster. I hope next year we get some more Vekomas.
Yeah, I think they're gonna become more and more involved over here. I think Big Bear Mountain and Circuit Breaker are definitely gonna be gonna help in that way, assuming all goes well, which I assume they probably will. So yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah, I can totally see that. So yeah.
All right. So before we wrap it up, is there anything else you would want to go into before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I want to talk about the Adventureland, the new area, the new Viking area real quick.
Alrighty.
I think it's a great addition. Like, I think, yeah, Adventureland removed their water rides. I'm glad we're getting a new water ride, and then we're getting that family coaster, which, yeah, it would be a good fit. We already have that one spinning coaster. I can't remember the name of it. So
The one at Adventureland, or
yeah, the one at the Adventureland.
man, it's a Mauer spinner, isn't it?
Yeah,
Which there's, I know, is it? It can't. I don't think it's Spider. I think it's somewhere else.
That's at Legit.
Yeah, and then Waldemir has Steel Dragon. And I feel like it starts with an S, but I'm probably wrong. I don't know why. Oh, it's Phoenix. Okay, thank you, Civilian Satellite. There we go. That's the name of it. Yeah, actually, okay. But yeah, I think it's nice to see. I think a new water ride, because the other ones is probably not going to reopen, I wouldn't think, at the park, is also really good to see. So overall, I think it's a really nice addition for sure.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for talking to me and having me on.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for coming on. It's very much appreciated, and cool to hear from you about the different sort of announcements being made. And I think your prediction, like the thing you'd want to see, is very good. Seeing either a big park or some parks in an area of the country that doesn't really have much, I definitely would like to see that as well. So pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, thanks.
Alrighty, see ya.
All right.
And there we have it. So huge thanks to the Coaster Bros. Sorry about that, I forgot for a second, but the channel name. But huge thanks to you for coming on and kind of sharing your points. I I hadn't even ever thought of the whole indoor park thing, how they're all kind of, the big ones anyways, are connected to another complex. So that was very interesting. And like I said, I very much can like the idea of getting more parks in that sort of Pacific Northwest region. So huge thanks to you. And with that being said, we have former guest Lucan from Western New York Coasters in the backstage. So I'm going to make sure that you're ready to go. And then we'll start. And let's see, what time is it? 10:35 Eastern, 7:35 my time. So we're doing pretty good. And so, yeah, already. So, Lucan, I'm going to bring you in on a 3-second countdown. So I'm going to bring you in 3, 2, 1. Lucan, how are you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Carrick?
It's been a while. I mean, you've been on here, but it's been a long
2
while.
years, man.
Yeah, for sure. So
It was
awesome
like
to have you on
February
here.
2021, I think it was. So
Yep.
it's been a
So,
minute.
for sure. But it's awesome to have you on. For those of you who are not subscribed
be
to
back.
Western New York Coasters, make sure to do that. Make sure to check them out. But
Appreciate it. I actually hit 1 million views today or yesterday or something. My dad pointed out to me. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
oh wow, oh that's a great milestone.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not anywhere close. So
Yeah.
congratulations.
Yeah, honestly,
on that.
I don't know how
Huge.
because my most viewed videos got like 50K, but I guess I posted a lot of videos. So
That and consistently good viewership, even if you don't have one that's like super huge.
yeah, I've had a lot of a few thousands here and there. But I have some really
good
good fans.
baseline.
I really appreciate them. They watch even if just a Big Bear Mountain analysis is 4 minutes long. They'll still come and watch, and I gotta appreciate those guys.
Absolutely. So with that being said, we're just gonna dive right into it. News reactions or announcement reactions. Was there any specific piece of news or announcement that caught your interest of the bunch?
Well, I think the biggest surprise for me was Canada's Wonderland. But they got the flat ride coming. I don't even know. That's like a Mondial. I don't even know what the thing's called, but that looks crazy. I mean, they already have like 7 crazy flat rides that I could at least think of off the top of my head. So why they chose to give them another thrilling flat ride, I'm not 100% sure. But hey, I'll take it. I only live like 3 hours from that park, so I get to go there once in a while. And it's weird. And then they got that family coaster, which I think is actually a really nice fit. They got a lot of supporting coasters that I'm just like, that you go there and you're like, I don't want to ride this, like Flight Deck, Time Warp. You don't want to ride those, but this one's gonna be something I'm like, okay, yeah, I could probably ride this, once every time I go there, and it's gonna be nice because that park is. I'm not sure if you've seen anybody's like TikToks and I know I'm using insiders. There's a lot of stuff on that park, but like, it's been slammed. They broke 4 million, I believe, recently.
Oh wow.
Attendance, and I'm like, that's more than Cedar Point, so they're gonna need it. And I've been told one of the main purposes of that ride is for Winterfest because they only have like one roller coaster open because of the bad weather up there.
I guess that would make sense. And
yeah. I get a lot of friends up there because like I said, I don't live too far away, and like they're like, oh my god, they're like, Leviathan's like a 30-minute wait. That's really good. I'm like, 30-minute wait's like the most I'm gonna see at my home parks, for the most part, at least.
I imagine probably part of the reason they're doing really well this year. From my understanding, a lot of places in Canada were pretty cooped up for a long while, so probably everyone's like, "All right, we got to go to Canada's Wonderland," and so great for them that they're doing so well.
Yeah, and in terms of like Cedar Fair parks, that's definitely got the largest direct population center. If you ever go there, unless you're coming from like way up north or something, you're gonna drive through Toronto and experience what that's like. It's a great city, but the traffic's like on par with like LA traffic from what I've heard. And they have just so many people in that area, and there's so much room to grow. Like not only Toronto, I think Toronto's got like 3 million people. I know Mississauga is almost 1 million. Niagara Falls is a lot of people. Buffalo is like 2 hours away. Even Rochester, Roller coaster where I live is like, we got 1 million people in the Monroe County, so they have such a huge base to draw from, and it's awesome. Oh, hi Logan, I just sent him the link to the stream. How you doing?
Oh, nice. That's awesome. And I very much appreciate that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
But I guess the Canada's Wonderland, them getting a coaster, I can't recall a park getting a coaster where it was just so out of absolutely nowhere, and like literally no one had any idea that they were gonna get it, because I don't think anyone, even if it's a family coaster, anyone was like thinking that Canada's Wonderland was gonna get a coaster this year. Maybe the local insiders did. It's possible. I don't watch.
I think I heard some minor stuff, but I just like put it off immediately. I was like, nah. I thought I was hearing like Planet Snoopy stuff, so I guess it's like a Snoopy themed roller coaster. So I mean, they're not too far off on that. And I heard some people guessed it up there, but I didn't catch it. I didn't even think about that park. The park that I was focused on was Cedar Point, actually, because that was the one where I was like, there's a couple of ways that announcement could have went, really. What were your thoughts on that announcement? I'll let you go ahead first before I take up too much time talking.
So honestly, I didn't think they were gonna get a coaster. I know that I thought it was possible, but I was just like, if I had to bet on it, I probably was gonna say no. So the fact that they even got one to me, that was already a surprise. And
yeah,
for getting a Wild Mouse type coaster, I do think they did go with a good sort of version to go with.
Yeah, I agree.
I do. I just rode my first Zamperla Mouse with Sidewinder Safari. I enjoyed it, and having one with kind of the bit of the funky layout that one has, I think it'll be a fun ride. Hopefully, capacity will be good enough.
I've heard they can run
on that thing.
They're gonna have 7 trains on that, so I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe buy Fastlane for that one. For those who want, like, that's going to might be a one and done. I mean, it looks like a cool ride. I'm going to be fair. Like it probably will be on par with something like Laugh Track. Maybe even like I prefer a Whirlwind personally at Seabreeze this cycle, and I just so much for some reason I just find it be crazier. I'm sure people will disagree with me, but
compared to Laugh Track,
yeah.
Laugh Track wasn't too crazy in my experience.
Yeah,
I think they tone it down for it. Maybe I'm
it's
wrong.
more family theming based. I mean, there's always families in line for that ride, so I understand why they do that. But Whirlwind's probably one of the most thrilling rides at Seabreeze, to be honest. And Steel Dragon at Waldameer, a little more thrilling as well. I'm sure some of the other Mauer spinning coasters, like the ones that went in like Dubai and stuff, I'm sure those are cool as well. But
not the one in Santa Cruz. I'll say that much.
Yeah, the it reminds me of the Mauer spinning coaster. Like that's pretty much my take on it. And I was looking at that announcement. That was the one thing I saw. Where it was a fun thing. I'm like, okay, that was in the ballpark of what we all thought it was going to be. We all knew a coaster was going there from GCI. Could have been Titan Track. Like some people thought it was going to be full Titan Track with inversions. I was a little more like, I could see it. I could see more wood, which is kind of what we're getting. But I liked that I was thinking about Cedar Point. I was like, I think I said like I was really gonna get like a flat ride maybe, and like I said they probably get a small coaster, but like I think the only reason I thought they're gonna get some kind of coasters because when I went to the park in May and there, you look around like there's markings over by Gatekeeper and stuff. I'm like, they're doing something. They're definitely gonna do some infrastructure work, like they said, and I'm like, there's a good like I was hoping for like a family. Like maybe not something the size of like Zambezi Zinger, but like something like the size of like a Rorosaurus or a Wooden Warrior would have been really nice. I think you could probably even adjust that to be able to run like 3 trains at an extra brake run or something, and that could be a really good fit for Cedar Point. But I'm happy they're getting a family coaster. I wasn't shocked. I'd say like some people were, but I was like, it's all right. I mean. The fact that they call it Wild Mouse, I think is kind of funny because it's like, it's kind of Wild Mouse, but it doesn't have like, it doesn't have like 8 hairpin turns. Like that's to me what like establishes a Wild Mouse.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting, but I'll take the new thing
Yeah, I
over it,
mean,
I guess.
yeah, I'll probably take that over traditional wild mouse because like I think people are like they're like some people were expecting it to be like something bigger, and I think most people understood that it wouldn't be that, but like I think same thing with the Dollywood announcement. I'm like, you got to do your research before these things to get your expectations tempered, right? People were talking about like, oh, the largest investment for Dollywood. I was like, yeah, but it's going in Wildwood Grove. It's not going to be an extreme spinning coaster like as much as I wish it would be, and I'm
I
sure.
was secretly crossing my fingers and
Yeah,
figuring it
I had that in
probably
the back of my
wasn't
head.
gonna happen. But I'm
Yeah,
like, if it was, I'd be happy to be wrong because I think I said it was probably gonna be more family oriented. Which
I had
I
that in
mean,
the
that's
back of my
literally
head
what
as
they
well.
said. So,
Mm.
but
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Like they can twist their words, and I was I was hoping that I have like something to make it a little more exotic, I guess. Like just maybe a spinning element would have been nice. Like nothing extreme, but like it's a little similar to Fire Chaser Express, which is the only like the main issue I have with that ride. But I think it's gonna be a good addition. Don't get me wrong. I just would like to see a little more uniqueness. But they make the decisions. It'll probably be very successful, and it's not gonna hurt them. It's just a little bit of a nitpick.
yeah. I thought it was pretty good, and I'm actually probably one of the few people who are like, yes, I'm very happy that they're getting the pavilion,
Oh yeah,
because
that's I agree with that as well.
I went to Kings Island this year. They have that huge like sort of fest house building, and for me, when I go to parks, usually I have to eat outside, or it's like a kind of tiny, cramped indoor restaurant. It's usually not that spacious. So to have something like that, I'm like, man, more parks should have stuff like this.
No, I'm pumped for that as well.
So, and Cedar Point didn't really like have that in my opinion. So it was just kind of like when I saw it, when I heard that like that was going on, or like when I more thought about it, I'm like, oh, actually, this is good. This is great. I'm actually pretty happy about this. So
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, ugh, I mean, I was hoping for a coaster there, like a bigger coaster, like a boardwalk style wooden coasters, because we knew it was gonna be something boardwalk themed. But I was like, I'm not gonna. Like, the more I think about it, the more the idea starts to grow on me. I'm like, it's gonna give some good views. You're gonna be able to hang out on the beach nearby it. I mean, I think that probably be outside the park. I'm wondering if they're gonna do like they have that like Wicked Twister entrance. I'm curious to see if they're gonna kind of. I'm not sure if that's still there. I'm wondering if they're gonna like upgrade that or keep that, because I think it'd make a lot of sense if they're gonna have the Grand Pavilion and the beach for the people who aren't interested in the roller coasters as much.
I wonder. I believe I guess that now that you bring it up, I wonder if like the pavilion will kind of serve as like sort of that entrance into the park, but there's something to kind of like either a person or something to keep people from coming in if they don't have a ticket. I think Hershey Park's store, the new one, might have something kind of like that. I think it sort of serves as a way you can like
Oh
enter
yeah,
it. And that like the restaurants and stuff, it like there's a way where there's an
I know
exit
what
where
you're
you go
talking
into
about.
the park.
Yeah.
I think maybe something like that could happen, but I don't know enough about the project to say
Yeah.
anything with confidence.
That's definitely gonna be something that we're probably gonna hear about next like May or something. And I would ideally like to see an entrance there, because maybe next time I go, I'll hang out on the beach or something. Like, who knows? I've never done that before at Cedar Point. Something I definitely like to do. But I think that having that option there is nice. I think the whole appeal of Cedar Point, I definitely understand why they're going for the family appeal, because it definitely has the feel like a multi-day resort, even with what their current lineup is. If they keep expanding upon that, they're just going to keep attracting more families. And I think that's with an amusement park, that's really you got to aim for that demographic between, I'd say, like families with kids like 6 to like 14 or something. Kids are like, they aren't quite the teenager range where they're like they get attracted to like the Steel Vengeances, Top Thrill Dragsters of the world, but they just want to, they're a little more timid. Go to the beach, ride the wild mouse, maybe even try Gatekeeper. I don't think Gatekeeper is even that extreme. I think that's a good step up from some of the other rides in the area. The other thing I noticed was they're moving the flats over there. I was convinced they're going to put new flats in there, but I think the interesting thing is, I don't know who mentioned it, but whoever did it,
Andrew Hyde mentioned it. I was gonna bring it up too. They're moving it from where Corkscrew is.
That was a good catch, yeah. And I could definitely see the next expansion, especially if they get rid of Dragster. Hoping they don't do that. Like even if they replace it with something better, I think the icon status that Dragster's developed is too much to lose for the park, especially with everyone mad about them not getting an extreme spinning coaster or whatever they were hoping for this year. But like, I think they could definitely do something there, and like Corkscrew covers a decent amount of space. I mean, they can work with the Midway. I know Iron Dragon is. I don't know how much longer that has. I mean, they could probably even just replace that with a better family coaster. If they're gonna do anything with that.
The plot of Iron Dragon's a little, I think, kind of, if my understanding
it is
correct,
over
a
like a
little weird. Like, I mean, so that is kind of a interesting thing there.
I am thinking their next coaster is going to be something a little bit larger and more thrilling because it's Steel Vengeance was 2018. This is going to be 5 years since Steel Vengeance. I mean, it does fill their coaster gap, but you know, it's Cedar Point. They're eventually going to have to do something, and especially, I mean, if they get Dragster back, that could probably help like satisfy people for a year or two because I think they need Dragster back. I was thinking about making a video on that, like just being in the park without Dragster. Like I know it's down all the time, but like it's sad because it's like it's in the center of the park, and it's like there's still so many people in that area as well. And it's just like the energy of that area is just like it's just kind of awkward now. You're just like, oh yeah, there's the lawn ornament.
Yeah, I agree, especially with the Dragster thing. I mean, Dragster is my number 2 coaster at the park, so I'm
a lot of people agree with that. I know some people even think that's the best coaster in the park. It's like I could see it being up to the number 3. I think. I would take Maverick and Steel Vengeance over it, but Maverick I initially did not like Maverick the first time I rode it, and I was a Dragster fan, but.
Yeah, that's fair, and I think if they were to remove Dragster, I'd have to look at a map in terms or like Google Earth to see what Corkscrew exactly clears up. But I feel like that definitely, because I'm kind of looking at it, I'm like I know some people are like trying to think of rides that could take over Dragster's plot of land, and I look at the concepts. To be honest, I think they're kind of stretching a bit. In terms of what they can actually do, but maybe not. But I think if you add that sort of land in, I think there's probably a lot more to work with. So that's if they were to remove Dragster, I mean, you can't truly replace it. You can't get back what you lose from it, truly. But you can still put in something that's really good. So that's what I hope would happen if it were to die. Yeah. I don't know about me.
I mean, I don't think they're ever gonna shut up on me. I think they need a coaster every other year or every year to get people to be satisfied. But I think I don't hate the family editions. I think if it's gonna make the parks be more successful in the long term, it's gonna benefit the people who want those big thrill rides. Because you come out of pandemic, Cedar Fair wasn't, they've been hit fairly hard by. I mean, you see, they're closing down Great America to get the money. Like they need to try to reduce some of that debt they have, and if they can keep bringing families, keep developing these very, very like Cedar Point's a very profitable property, and if they keep bringing in families, like they could expand their operating calendar. They might be able to go into the winter. Like I know it's crazy up here at the Great Lakes. They might be able to come up with like a very like something like what Canada's Wonderland. I mean, they get a Winterfest at Canada's Wonderland. They could probably do it at Cedar Point. And if they can get families to come out and stay at Hotel Breakers for Christmas or whatever, they'll probably do it. And that's a good thing of all this. Eventually, it's going to pay forward if everything's successful. And everything they're doing is it's very safe investments, to be fair.
Yeah, it is kind of a interesting direction
Mm.
they're taking with the park, but I guess we'll have to kind of. I'm very curious to see what Cedar Fair is going to do in the next few years as well, especially so
Yeah.
because they are trying to. They're definitely doing different things this year because they're having Zamperla build a coaster for
Yeah,
them. That's
that was
something.
caught me off guard. I was like, they usually stick to their little circle of like B&M, GCI, and that's pretty much their go-to. Like they're
Hmm.
not, all like obsessed with RFC like most people are. They don't seem to like them too much. Um, they worked with Gerstlauer. I think they'd probably be willing to work with them again. But besides that, I'm like, I mean, I think they are working with Gerstlauer for that coaster I can as Wonderland actually.
Yeah, it is an art engineering coaster.
Okay,
I
yeah,
don't know what other manufacturers are involved. I think there is some other manufacturer
mhm.
involved with the process. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why I can't as Wonderland is get some of those weird rides because you get some companies that is Art Engineering Canadian,
No,
or am
I
I getting
don't.
that confused with what's Dynamic Attractions? I believe one of those two is Canadian.
I I don't. I'm not certain, but I'm pretty sure art engineering isn't Canadian based.
Okay,
I think it's somewhere else.
yeah,
But
I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there, but like. I don't know. Canada's Wonderland's gotten some weird rides in the past, and I don't think it's gonna stop. Like people are always like, "Let's RMC." Well, I don't think they're gonna get an RMC soon because they just don't. Cedar Fair doesn't really seem to like them. I mean, it's been almost 5 years since they've worked with them. I know there's the pandemic and stuff, but like, if they liked them as much as like Six Flags did, they probably would have brought them in 3 years later to do something on one of those coasters. I mean, I know there's the issues with the work permits and stuff, but they could have done something with, I don't know, maybe Hurler at Carowinds because I mean that's the same ride as what Kings Dominion had, and it's not that popular. It doesn't matter if they're the same layout or a different layout than Twisted Timbers. They probably would if they wanted to work with them. They probably would have at this point.
yeah, and then I guess for the last one, the sort of GCI, like, yeah, they work with GCI a lot, but Cedar Fair doesn't usually dive into prototypes, although you could even sort of say they're doing that with Zamperla too, with the new layout thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
But
it's
with
still pretty safe.
the Titan track, it still is interesting to me that, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's a bizarre. It's
the
a
Titan
bizarre.
track was interesting considering how unique of a ride that is and
Mhm.
everything. It's probably I think it's gonna do great, but it
Yeah, I
is
think it
just
will.
kind of interesting that it's like, well, I mean that's definitely something that you don't see every day from them,
Mhm.
an attraction like that.
I mean,
So
they love GCI, so I'm pretty sure they just gave them a little pitch, and they're just like, "Yeah, we're good with this." And I mean, it's like proven technology at this point. We know a track like that's gonna work. We saw it on White Lightning, Predator, and Wolverine Wildcat as well.
yeah,
So I think that was just the confirmation, the Wolverine Wildcat for them. And it's weird though because like I'm kind of confused like why it's like half and half. I mean, like it's cool. It gives it like a uniqueness factor, but like I don't know why like the lift hill and stuff. I mean, I guess it makes sense. The lift hill would be tight track because that would keep the longevity of it. And I don't know. It seems like it'd make it easier.
yeah, I think probably GCI for my I've heard some things, I don't know how true they are, but they still very much want to make wooden coasters.
Yeah.
I think that their viewpoint, I'm going to guess that their viewpoint is Titan Track's great and all, but
Bonus.
we just want to use it for things that make sense, but we still want to do wooden coasters.
Hmm.
That's probably where they're probably going with this. I don't know if that's the right sort of thing to do, but and we'll see
Hmm.
if that holds up over time. And also for as a maintenance thing, because I mean that's probably a
Yeah,
good
yeah. I mean, that's
way to
gonna
get
be there.
money.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So I don't know if we'll see a full Titan track layout for a probably long time, if ever. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
that's the funny thing because I know Claire Hayne talked about Wildcat and stuff, and I really wonder what they proposed because it was them and it's pretty much RMC at this point fighting for that project, and I'm interested to see, like, did they propose they're going to keep some of the ride wood? Like, was Hershey Park just not into that idea? Like, I think Cedar Fair is more like be more open to the idea of, like, obviously the Zambezi Zinger, like, let's do some tie-in track and some wood. But that's really interesting. Now we're looking at Zambezi Zinger. It's like, did they offer a hybrid, like a mix of steel and wood track? Like that would have been really interesting to see. I mean, I don't know if the marketing appeal is quite as there for like an RMC. Like, to me, not seeing what some of, like, I know you have that little bet with Hershey Park enthusiasts.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this thing now, and he's been posting some like shorts and stuff, and like they're doing work like beyond the perimeter of the ride before. So like, it's possible they could make it bigger, or they could just be doing work to make it like a nicer plaza. But like, maybe I'm kind of thinking RMC is going to do a nice job with that. Like, people are saying it might be a small scale RMC. I think it's going to be at least a medium sized RMC. Maybe not the 200 footers that we've been seeing, but I could see like a 120, 130, 140. So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's an interesting project. For me, I would feel like GCI probably would have done literally everything, even if it meant like fully doing a new layout and everything to make
That's fair.
sure that they could get the project, and maybe they just didn't. Or maybe maybe you're right. I could also see a world where they were like, okay, we'll
want to keep the layout kind of the same.
Well, maybe they would add a new element somewhere here and there, but still want to keep the wood track and things like that. And maybe Hershey was like, no, we're gonna go for this. So it is. Although he did say that they did think they were gonna get the project, so that
that could be partially just a little bit.
Could be biased. Yeah.
But the weird thing about, I remember that video we saw a couple weeks ago, Claire Haynes. I don't really know what it was supposed to be, but they just put it out. Somebody put it out. I can't remember where it was.
It was from a local news station.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, but like, he was talking about, like, he's like he basically was like, the Infinity Flyer with the Titan track are basically packaged, and then he's like, we use these to do inversions and corkscrews, and then like we're all like, oh, Zambezi Zinger is gonna have 2 inversions, and they're gonna have a barrel roll or something, and like they come out with this, and it's like, I don't know, I'm not sure if that was a little bit of like, I guess, I don't know, there would be like showmanship on his part for.
I don't think he said anything about specific elements. I think he just said it was capable of doing such.
I think he said something relating. Like, I remember he used the word corkscrew. I know he definitely said that.
Yeah, he mentioned that in there. Like, I think
that is kind of a generic thing to say. But I was like, he did kind of like, I think a lot of people were convinced there's gonna be inversions. So I was convinced, and I know a lot of other people were like, there's gonna be a barrel roll or something. I was convinced there was gonna be as well. Even with like some family coasters, you can still have an inversion, and I guess you can call it family, but I understand why they didn't put an inversion on it. But it definitely makes me wonder, like, who's going to be the first park to like say, okay, we want an inversion. And it's like, it's also kind of weird. It's like, if you go back all the way to Son of Beast, it's like, you look at that loop that was on Son of Beast, like, you really count that as like an inverting wooden coaster? Because they literally just took it like a piece of like aerodynamics like loop track and like put it on the coaster. I'm like, I think I think Hades 360 and Outlaw Run were like the first to get actual wooden coaster inversions, and I'm wondering if like someone gets a GCI and they just put like a steel Titan track barrel roll or corkscrew or something. That, I don't know, it's interesting, but I think the market for it's definitely there because RMC's like given up on the topper track pretty much from what I've seen. So I think there's definitely a market for it. It's really just them and Gravity Group, but I think the longevity, like, some of Gravity Group's coasters have gotten pretty rough. I think the longevity factor definitely, I think GCI definitely has that going for themselves.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be really interesting to see kind of what becomes of the Titan track and how it's used.
Yeah.
I guess for like a last thing here, is there anything or a prediction or something you'd like to see in terms of a new project here in the future?
Yeah, so the one thing I was thinking about the whole time that I wanted to mention that it's kind of gone under the radar. I mean, some people have pointed out that kind of live nearby me and stuff, is that we got Silver Comet has got the train mech on the tracks at Niagara Amusement Park. And that park's I haven't gotten out there yet, but it's slowly starting to get the project's starting to catch some fire, and it seems like they're getting people to come out, and the water park's pretty much fully operational. They got about maybe a dozen rides or so going, and I think the funny thing is Silver Comet actually like valleyed a day ago or something.
Oh,
And that's it was in a bad spot to valley as well. It was like the first test run. And
yikes.
it's like a very way the coaster is built. There's just a lot of steel, and it got like stuck within the structure. So it's like it's gonna be a project to get it out. I've heard. So I think that's something to keep an eye on. Like I'm hoping that's gonna be open by the end of the year. So I actually have I'm probably gonna go out there either way. But like I want to have a decent coaster to go out there for. And then I know you're talking about, I think, Coaster Bros and about the
shuttle loop.
Yeah, the shuttle loop Montezooma getting the whole, like, this might be the last authentic, like one of the last authentic shuttle loops in the entire world. But by the time, if they can ever get it open, I mean, they got triple loop going on at Indiana Beach. That looks. The only issue I've heard about that is the trains, and I heard the trains were just completely like unsalvageable. The ones they got from La Fria, and
Yeah.
what I've been told is they're completely rebuilding them, so that it's gonna be like the same design, but it's gonna be just completely new trains. So I know that's going on. I do know there's a shuttle loop train around somewhere. I don't know if it's serviceable or not. Obviously, coming from that park, it's hard to tell. But they did confirm they're going to keep the flywheel launch. So that it could be something really exciting next year. And they also got an SDC Galaxy at the park that I don't know. I can't say for sure if it, like they said a while ago, they're like not all these rides are actually end up at the park. And the one of the bad things, I've heard a lot of ups and downs about that place, but like one of the issues that I've heard, a lot of the parks are like, a lot of the rides that they have are just like completely unusable, that they've gone from like Mexico and stuff. And I'm like, you kind of got to expect that when you get some of these rides from a park that literally like had like multiple guests like die from one of their attractions.
And did not have any form of good maintenance on their
No,
attractions.
yeah. And then I'm like, is that the best idea? Probably not. But like, if it's just enough to get them on their feet and get them in the green, and then they can start adding like real and modern rides. I mean, I think Silver Comet's going to last for a long time. I heard they retract a lot of it. So, and I think it's a good coaster. I think people should go out and ride it if they can ever get stuff like that open. But the shuttle loop's going to break. They're going to put it right next to the highway from what I've seen. And it's like when you're driving from like Buffalo or like basically anywhere, if you're going to like if you're going to Niagara Falls, you're probably almost guaranteed to pass through Grand Island. And the highway you take will take you right past the park. So I think that's going to be a really nice appeal for the park with the shuttle loop. Like if they have the spike going out toward the highway, that would just be so cool. But yeah, I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I'll definitely cover Silver Comet if they get it open. But I just think a lot of people kind of miss that because they literally said something the same day. Cedar Fair announced like 3 roller coasters. It's like doesn't matter how big the roller coasters are going to be, there people are still going to look at them like, and that's fair. But I think it's something that people missed, and it's something to keep an eye on. And maybe even GCI will come and work on that ride. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I
Someone
guess
out there is Titan Track going on the ride. I'm like, maybe that's not the right takeaway yet, but maybe in the future they will. But I thought it was pretty smooth when I rode it.
I think some people were guessing that might have been a potential candidate when we didn't know where the Titan track was going.
Yeah.
But I would be kind of stunned if they would do that now.
Yeah. With Predator being right, like from what I've been hearing, I've heard Predators. The reception's actually been good about the Titan track. So I've heard that they're going to try to do more. So if they keep doing that on Predator, I'm not sure like how much of an incentive there is because people it's like 30 minutes away, 30, 40 minutes
Oh
from there.
wow.
Like, so it's like they're gonna feel like the same ride to the GP, especially since Titan track's such like a it's like maybe the smoothest like tracker I've ever like felt. And it's so weird compared to Predators. Predator's pretty rough.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. I think with Gene Staples, them like he saved these parks. It's great and everything. I think he bit off a little bit more than
Yeah,
he
I
could
agree.
chew in terms of. I mean, when they said that American Drew looping opening in 2022, I'm like, yeah, right. There's
They
no
said
shot.
2021, yeah.
Or wait, I'm trying to remember. Oh, wait, no, 2021, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, no shot. There's no way. And it's probably like 2023, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I think if it gets open, it gets open. I mean, it's a real cool thing they're doing, and it's like a pretty small operation to be fair. Like IB's not a big chain at all. It's like doesn't have any. There's no like corporate backing to it at all. It's just like I heard Gene Staples was like working a food stand one of the other days, and I'm like, that's honestly it's so weird, but it's such a cool thing to see. It's like this guy really he's determined to keep the parks going, and I'm like that's awesome, but like the operation's so like localized right now. I've heard Indiana Beach is doing well, and Clementon, it seems like it's doing well as well. It's a really localized park. Actually, I just saw some of the chat. Maybe they could put Titan Track on Hellcat. Maybe that'd be a good idea.
That was another one that people were like, "Oh, maybe they're doing something with that." But
yeah, that's actually not a bad one. I was convinced it'd be Predator for a while because I actually wasn't, to be fair. People kept telling me they're like driving by the park and seeing the Titan Track. I'm like, there's no way you could see that from the road, especially when it was like snowing out and stuff. And I'm like, there's no way. But I went out to the park a couple weeks before it opened, and I was like, oh yeah, there's Titan Track on that. And I'm like, it was like the weirdest thing to track, and people were interested in it, but at the same time, it wasn't like it was a new Predator or anything.
Yeah, but definitely. It's good to see. Circling back to Silver Comet, it's good to see that they are working towards reopening it, and
yeah, one step
I do
at a
hope
time.
it. I hope for your sake it opens before the end of the year.
Mhm.
But regardless, I hope it's in great shape whenever it reopens. So
Yeah, I live near Seabreeze, and I'm like, they do a lot of great operation. I'm actually considering going to work there for the last couple weeks of the season just to see how it all runs. And I'll definitely put something on that, like on my Instagram or something, if I end up working there. But that's a great operation. There's, I think there's definitely a really good market for that park to be successful. Especially Silver Comet would be the first step in doing that for sure.
that's good, for sure. I just got an update. Apparently,
Yeah.
I haven't been watching preseason football today, but apparently Zach Wilson got injured or something like
Oh
that.
no,
That's not good.
That's not good. Yeah.
Not after his sort of
event, yeah.
resurgence in popularity.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
But anyways, no. I guess I'll wrap it up here. But it was really good to have you on.
Oh yeah, great seeing you, man.
After
Oh yeah, there's
so
one
long.
more point I want I want
Okay.
to ask you. So I was just scrolling through the description like when I was watching with you and some of your other guests, like blindly, and I was like, I saw that there's for the delays you put Matugani and it's delayed to 2023. Is there like a park confirmation on that?
There is. So
That's really
in a really weird way. So basically what happened was I forget if it's on Reddit or on a forum somewhere,
Mhm.
but basically someone DM'd the park. They were like, hey, when's Matugani opening? Park responded with, Intamin can't come to basically help with commission or test it until September, and that the
That's
ride
gonna
would
end
not
this
be
season.
opening this season. That was not the obviously direct quote, but that's basically
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
It was already kind of leading up to it. Like, I think it was like at some point it was delayed till August, and they're like, we don't know if it's going to happen. Then I think a few weeks later, they're like, it's unlikely to happen. And then it eventually became, it's not happening. So,
Man,
it's
yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean,
especially the park I've heard has not been doing great in terms of attendance and everything.
It's sad because it looks really nice. I saw Cole's video on it, and I'm like this. I want to go to this place someday, and I hope it doesn't close before I get the chance because it's in Iowa, and it's got like it doesn't. It could end up becoming like a destination, but it's in Iowa. Like how many people? Like how many coaster? Like I don't know any coaster enthusiasts that live in Iowa. To be fair.
Yeah, and I think it may have been a little bit too ambitious for.
I think what they went wrong was they didn't have the best advertising campaign, from what I've heard.
Yeah, oh yeah, I heard that was pretty bad. So, which I'm kind of concerned now with like Kodo Land. We were talking about it earlier, but what are they doing? Like, hire me, guys, just something.
Yeah,
for your social media thing.
Now,
so.
if we're gonna be fair, with Palindrome, they did make it very clear when they talked about it, but like it's gonna be late 2022, but
which it's probably not going to be. But
yeah, I think we're gonna see like, and then you push over the circuit breaker, and you're like, they've already got that signed, and it's done in pen, and I'm like, that could get pushed back to like the end of 2023. Like, the good thing is with Gerstlauers that I learned from like the experience with Tantrum being built at Darien Lake is that they can go up really fast. And I think Defiance actually got up fairly fast, even for that crazy location. Like
oh yeah, no, it went up fast.
Stuff. Yeah, that was insane. So I think once they get on site, like, I think it's like flat land where the park is. So it's just going to be like probably a 2-3 month process to get everything ready to go. So like, say they start in like September, say they start after Labor Day. It might be ready by December. And I mean, the weather is always going to be 70 or above in Texas. So,
yeah, their original target date, I think, it was supposed to be October or November because they wanted it to open in time for this like race that was happening. And that's like almost certainly not happening at this point.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the situation with Mattel Adventure Park.
Where they wanted to open by the Super Bowl, and it's like,
they're trying to get the hotel open.
Yeah. Which, I mean, yay, great, hotel's open, no park though. Why are you gonna stay there?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I mean, maybe the place gets booked up for the Super Bowl, and they're like,
maybe it does. Who knows?
Yeah, and the other weird thing about that park as well was like, I mean, that ride also beat the two coasters they got there almost were immediately marked as 2023, like probably back a couple months ago. So at least like, I mean, I'm not sure like they directly said it, but like when I look at things, I usually use RCDB for these small parks.
I actually have a story about that. I sent the information to the RCDB guy that changed that date.
Oh yeah, nice.
There was, and I got a chat bot, I think, just came in. That's really epic. Oh man, love it. Love it when that happens. But anyways, on an Amusement Today article, I believe was where the information came from. Mm-hmm. They confirmed that it was being delayed to spring 2023, and so sent the guy the article, and that was how it was changed. So that was my doing.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching Airtime Thrills is like ranking every coaster in the world. I'm like, how many of these coasters are going to be delayed to 2023? I counted like 12, and I'm like, I mean, half of them were like Chinese coasters, which it's hard to find information on those. But like, I'm like, if a lot of these rides are delayed open in 2023, we're gonna have probably like, 7-8 really good thrill coasters, and people are like, oh, these family coasters. I mean, like, I was looking at the list. I'm like, even worldwide with like those Intimates opening in Europe, and I'm like, Zambezi Zinger might only be like number 10 in the entire world. So I'm like, don't get that. Don't get that.
Oh, you're already looking into that already. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just like hypothetically, I'm like, okay, we got Wildcat. It's probably Wildcat's probably gonna be more thrilling than Zinger, and then
ArieForce
Circuit Breaker.
1 is probably gonna be delayed. Is my guess. I think
Yeah.
it's getting delayed till 2023, so you get a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So the thing with ArieForce 1 is like I've been kind of monitoring that because I follow a few like people from Georgia, and I'm like there's always a little bit of progress every week, but it's so slow. It's kind of like if you built steel engines from the ground up, or Iron Gwazi from the ground. I mean, Iron Gwazi basically was from the ground up. So like, that's why it's taking so long. And I'm like, okay,
not exactly. We got also information on that one. It is listed in my delays. Reason being is there was an article that
I did see that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the whole project got delayed 8 months because they had to fulfill county requirements. And
yeah, they didn't start building until May.
And I'm not sure if this is exactly how it happened, but from my understanding, one of those things was having to build a bigger parking lot because
I've seen they're doing that.
Because the county wanted it. My guess is because they didn't want people parking in like residential neighborhoods and whatnot.
Yeah.
I just find it really funny that was a reason potentially. So
yeah, what's either probably gonna happen is they're probably gonna open it during like the dead season to get because whenever that opens, there's gonna be a big hype train of enthusiasts going down there. I already just like how it was for Gwazi and Pantheon. There's going to be a hype train of enthusiasts, and then, it's going to get so much media attention. And I think whenever they open it, it's going to be a hit. So I'm just interested to see how they're going to play that at this point.
For sure.
There's a lot of ways they could, there's a lot of markets they could really tap into.
Yeah, for sure. I do think I am going to wrap it up here, but once again,
yeah, I've been on here for probably too long.
Yeah, no problem. It's been awesome having you back on.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
And I'll see you next time.
Thanks, Carrick. See you, man.
See ya. Alrighty, huge thanks to Lucan for coming on and giving his thoughts on the announcements and what he would like to see. So, especially going into Niagara Amusement Park, that was obviously something that definitely swept under the rug with the all the announcements. So I'm happy we got to that. So very good. Next, I'm gonna mispronounce this. Wan J Lee. If I mispronounce it, you can tell me. But I'm gonna bring you on in a second. Because I know you've been in here for a while, so I'll just make sure that you're ready. And then that is going, and then I'll give you the 3-second countdown as always. We are going pretty late, so at this point, I am probably just going to do news reactions, actually depending on length of answer, but yeah. That's pretty much the plan there. So Wan J Lee, are you ready? Like I said, sorry if I'm mispronouncing. In the chat. If not, then I'm gonna bring on Diet Pepsi fan 1000 Vortex. I sending you things in the chat. So if you're ready to go. Oh, okay, there we go. Alright, so I'm gonna bring you on the 3-second countdown. So with that being said, I'm going to bring you on in 3, 2, 1. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So if you want to introduce yourself, I guess now would be the time to, and then we will go straight into the news reactions.
Thank you. So my name is so I'm not from the States. I'm actually from Korea. So
wow.
My name is kind of really hard to pronounce. But you can call me Lee by my last name. And my home park used to be Six Flags Fiesta, Texas for the past 7 years. Right now, I've moved back to my home country, but I used to be an enthusiast, but I'm on a hiatus right now. I'm taking a little break, but yeah, ask me any questions.
For sure. So I assume you're like familiar with some of the announcements that came out this week or the news. Was there any announcements that piqued your interest or yeah, were just interesting to you?
Cedar Fair, the one for Worlds of Fun, because they have a really big market in terms of the attractions that are up in the state of Missouri right now. So you have Silver Dollar City with constant investments like happening here and there, and like you also have Six Flags St. Louis, like a bunch of parks. And I didn't expect them to go with something that's like when Screamscape brought up that they were gonna get Zambezi Zinger 2.0, I thought it was gonna be like an RMC Raptor, so like single file seating and like similar aesthetics in terms if you want to like make like a throwback to the original attraction. But I wasn't expecting a two-seater GCI because the park already has a GCI. So it was kind of really confusing that they were going to get a second one very similar. So, and I thought people were bringing up rumors that the ride was going to be entirely out of Titan Track, but it turns out it's only partial. So that is also something that really interested me. So how do you think about that ride in general?
As I mentioned, I think it's going to be a very fun ride, and I think it's more family oriented than Prowler is. So I think in that way it fits in well, and it is paying homage to a classic. So I think it is gonna be do perfectly fine on its own. But yeah, it is definitely. It is interesting because yeah, the RMC Raptor, I thought for a while it was gonna be that. Then we learned like GCI was probably gonna be involved at some point in the process, so it was kind of like I don't know what's happening, but I think it's gonna be a really fun ride.
What rumors were you originally like hearing about the ride in like general when they said that they were gonna work with GCI and the address included something that said like wooden coaster?
I mean, when I saw wooden coaster, I was like, oh, it can be a wooden structure. Doesn't mean that the track's wooden. Honestly, my thought was it was probably going to be a, I think I was kind of in line with it was probably going to be a wooden coaster with Titan track inversions. That's where I kind of was like at. I'm like, okay, that would make sense. And that was probably where I was at. But I did hear rumors of the spiral lift hill, which I just thought there was no way. Then I heard rumors of a launch, and I'm like, that's a little more plausible, but it's still kind of weird.
I mean, GCI, like, they did mention that their new trains were capable of doing, like, launches and other type of maneuvers that were never attempted before on their older trains and older style tracks. So when they mentioned that they were going to get a launch, I was like, yeah, this is definitely going to cater towards like the thrill seekers. And then we realized that this was in the category in RCDB, they list the coaster as a thrill. So I was definitely also surprised by that. But somebody was saying that, Worlds of Fun doesn't have a decent family coaster in their lineup. So they have spinning dragons and like maybe I don't know if they have. I'm not sure about the other one, but so they said this was a good coaster to fill in that like family lineup. So what are your opinions on that?
I need to look at it again. I did hear that point as well. I'm trying to remember where it was from, but I did hear that. Yeah, their only family coaster is Spinning Dragons, really. Outside of they do have one kiddie coaster. So I think in that sense, it makes sense to add something else that it's like more catering towards families. So I understand. I think that makes it make a lot of sense. And I think it'll be good for that purpose, especially because it is a nostalgic ride, so you're gonna have people who are riding with the younger generation now too, who are like, "Hey, I rode the original version of this." So yeah.
Yeah, that is true. That is correct. Yeah. And what were your reactions to seeing the like how the structure interacted like with the rest of the layout?
The structure, I didn't particularly notice like it interact. I'd have to look at the POV again. I was pretty busy. So in terms of actually, I have seen the POV, but I've only seen it full through like once. So I can't speak much as to the actual structure interaction, but it being like really low to the ground, I think is gonna be really fun and really cool. And even though it is a smaller scale ride, and more meant for families, I think it will be potentially more exciting than some people are expecting.
Exactly. Yeah. So like there's a part of the the ride had like part of the track interact with the spiral lift hill. So I think I saw in the POV that they attempted to do that, but on that part of the like particular track they're using the Titan track instead of the wood. So and then it jumps back up again and then it goes to back lower to the ground and does like tighter transitions. So I think that's what I saw in the POV, but that's definitely really interesting for me in terms of the ride itself. But
Yeah.
can I ask you how do you feel about coasters in like Asia, like the region where like I'm from?
Like specifically South Korea, or are you speaking as to like
You could in general, like including South Korea.
or like I'm more asking like South Korea specifically, or like I guess East Asia in general, if you like include say China, Vietnam's having a boom.
Could you talk both? Like
Okay.
both South Korea and the rest?
In terms of new projects, I know that South Korea, they just got the new Latte World Park. I don't remember exactly what it's called.
It is it's in it's like in the southern city and like the south, like by the beach. Like it's very close to like the southern part of our country. But it's in terms of the newest like investments, they're like a big company. So like this is like their second park that they're bringing. But what is very disappointing is that they only offer clones in terms of the table.
Yeah,
So
they have the Blue Fire clone and the
yeah,
Power Splash, I think,
the
too.
Power Splash, yeah. So like for an original park of that magnitude to just offer like clones, it was kind of very disappointing in my opinion. But
Yeah, I could see I definitely would see that.
yeah. And then we have you heard of the B&M dive coaster? I think we have like a Shikra clone here.
Is it Draken? Is that the one over there, or
Yeah, that
okay,
is
it is
correct.
that one.
Yeah. It's like a yellowish coaster with like I think it was a clone of Shikra, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
But
I'm pretty sure that's right.
yeah, but that one's good, and also that park has a pretty good invert from B&M. That one,
Phaethon, I'm butchering
yeah.
that probably, but yeah, that ride.
And we also have the Aquatrax. Have you heard of that before?
Atlantis Adventure, yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
That one looks really fun. I've heard really good things about it. I would need to look at the layout again, but it looks like a really fun ride.
I've actually rode that ride before, but they've actually removed the water sprays that make the ride unique. So that was kind of a disappointment in my opinion. Because like what makes the ride stand out from the rest of the intimate coasters is the fact that it's kind of like a water coaster. But it's gone. So that was just like a normal coaster in top of water instead of like I guess having the water spray at the track.
That is pretty disappointing because I mean it's literally an aqua track, so you know kind of a big part of it. We actually have a. Oh wait, sorry, you go.
Yeah. So I think it was most likely it was because of budget cuts. They didn't have like the maintenance cost to like constantly pump the water or like fix the water lines, but that's just up in the sleeves of themselves. So no one has actually said the reason why they stopped doing that. But that's why I just stopped riding it, because it just took out like the fun factor. And yeah, that was kind of very disappointing.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. Civilian Satellite in the chat has a question for you. If you've done Fantasia Special, that's the Aero Looper, I would like to say.
Oh yeah, it's the triple looper, the triple corkscrew.
Ah,
Yeah, it's a lot of the attractions we have here is very like old school. So like we have old school Tacomas, and since we're very close to like Japan, we used to have a lot of like Meisho, like Meisho.
yeah, Meisho. They
Yeah.
have some good stuff.
Yeah, we used to have a lot of like Meisho loopers and like Aero loopers, Tacomas, but that one I think I've done it like a few times, but it was pretty rough. I mean, it is an old coaster, so but it's pretty like aesthetic and like aesthetically pleasing because it has the triple inversion like next to a lake. So like that was pretty cool. But besides that, I just didn't find anything interesting about like that ride and that park in general. But yeah.
Yeah, it does. I remember seeing a picture of it. I don't know if it still has that color scheme anymore, but it had the multicolor scheme.
Oh
so
yeah.
that was
It
really
has, like,
cool.
a rainbow color scheme, like a bunch of colors, like red, green, and blue. I think.
Yeah, looks like it. And I guess you were asked. It doesn't seem like, in terms of like South Korea, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of big, new, exciting coaster projects, just
Yeah.
from my point of view, which is unfortunate. I hope they're able to get more
Hopefully.
big
Yeah.
projects over there.
Yeah.
But because I'm trying to remember, like, if you're not including clones, I don't know, like, T-Express may have been, like, the last humongous thing I can think of. So,
I think that was one of the bigger investments that we got, but that was still like 10 years ago. That was more than 10 years ago. So
yeah.
it's
So
a pretty
it's a
long
while.
time. Yeah.
So,
And
I was gonna say, so I definitely think it would be cool to see some more, specifically just unique, like, coasters with unique layouts over there, for sure.
Yeah, but I think one of the like the bigger reasons why we're not having those type of investments is mostly because the audience like isn't there for it. Like we don't have like a big demand for like thrill seekers here. So like I feel like the water slide, actually, like the water park industry is like bigger here. Like we have like so many water parks and like state of the art like water slides. Like I think we have like have you heard of Mammoth in Holiday World?
Yeah, I've ridden it, so
Oh
yeah.
yeah, me too. Me too. I've actually been to Holiday World last year, but it was so fun. But we have not a clone, but like the same type of ride, but with like a tornado element at the end of the ride.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, and like we also have a bunch of other water coasters and like type of rides that you wouldn't see in other parts of the world in terms of water slides, because the demand is there for it. But like if you would like change that to coasters, like there isn't like the people that really like that. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is kind of interesting because I know different parts of Asia are kind of doing different things. Vietnam, as I mentioned, are getting
Yes.
a ton of stuff.
yes, so many investments back and forth. New parks opening up. Have you seen the GCI that recently opened up right there?
Yeah, Roaring Timbers. Talked to one of the guys who was a part of that project. So, yeah, it looks really awesome.
It's pretty close from here. So I'm trying to make there by the end of the year. So, and the whole park that surrounds like the area.
I hope you're able to get there. That's pretty cool. And I didn't say this earlier, but it's awesome to have you on here, just because a lot of the people who come on generally, like, it's a lot of people from America, so to get someone from somewhere else is really cool to see a different perspective, and it's fun. Yeah.
Thank you. It's an honor. Thank you. I really appreciate it. That's very nice of you. Thank you.
For sure. And so I guess I guess you sort of already answered it, but like I'm sure you would like to see more unique coasters go into your country, of course.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, do you have like a specific project or something you would like to see come over?
Oh, maybe we need an RMC.
Yeah.
And Japan was pretty fortunate to get one of those, like a few years ago for Hakuge.
Yep.
I don't know how they managed to do it. Like probably the thing that I heard was that they had a free spin installed before with like the SNS 40 free spin. And the manufacturers had like something in contact, or like they were pretty close with people that work with RMC.
RMC does the track for Arashi, so that would be why.
Yeah, and I saw that, and it was definitely something that I kind of felt really jealous about, because we don't have any free spins, we don't have any RMCs, we don't have any those type of attractions here. So I would definitely love to see one of those, or even like a small, like a family. RMC even offers a family option for their coasters now. So something like that would be also cool. Like anything up in the sleeves would be pretty nice at this point, because we don't have anything that's like state of the art. So that's what I definitely think.
Yeah, I mean, I just like more RMCs in different countries. I think would be appreciated. Here in the U.S., we got plenty. I think we can afford to kind of just spread it around, I suppose.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that'd be cool to see.
That's true, and actually, I've ridden like 7 to 8 RMCs when I used to live in the States. So for them to come over to my country, that would be like very nice. Like more overseas like installations would definitely be like I guess bring up like the value of like RMC in general in the industry. So like I think that's something that should happen in the near future if it's possible.
Yeah, for sure. I think that'd be really fun. It's been great having you on, and I just want to say if there's anything you want to mention or talk about before we wrap this up, now would be the opportunity. But yeah.
What have you like worked in terms of like something connected to the industry?
I haven't like specifically worked in the industry. I am not. It's pretty difficult for me to, because I'm in the middle of California. I'm like 2.5 hours from any major park.
Okay.
But what I have done is, of course, I have these sort of streams where I've collaborated with other content creators, but I've also done interviews, 3 of them, where I've talked to people within the industry, and they're on here on the channel. Shameless plug, I guess. But
that is quite nice.
I have one with the Adventureland, one of the family members who is part of the family who owns Adventureland Long Island, which is a little park in New York that just got a rollerball this year. In Fireball. I've also have an interview with Tyler Mullins from Skyline Attractions, who's also involved with the design of the coasters at GCI, because Skyline and GCI are connected. And I've also done an interview with the CEO of Farup Summerland in Denmark because they
Oh,
got Phoenix
wow.
this year. So that's sort of my experience. But outside of that, I don't have much.
That's quite nice actually, because I've really wanted to have like strong connections with people that work in the industry, and the closest I have was when I used to be in Fiesta, Texas. I always was very close to the people that work there. Like I was close with Jeffrey. Like he was a very nice guy. Uh, like I've had conversations with him here and there. Like to a point where I was able to obtain some exclusive information before they were even released. Like
Oh, wow.
I knew that Dr. Diabolical was coming like way before people even knew it. So and that and like even with I think I was responsible for leaking the Aquaman turntable before it got announced. Like so like I had a chat with one of the people that worked at Over Texas when Ron McKinsey used to be the president. He isn't anymore, right? He got fired.
Yeah. I likely a lot of changes have been happening in Six Flags, but
Yeah,
yeah.
corporate, yeah. So when he used to work at the park, like I actually had the fortunate opportunity to speak with like the marketing manager or like someone like who works very close with him. And it was like during Winterfest when they told me that they were gonna get a turntable for the Aquaman ride, which now is delayed again. I don't know. It's most likely because of like Ron, because when he was at the park, he had very like ambitious plans to like theme the ride like to Aquaman's like storyline and everything. And now that he's gone, I think budget cuts are pretty like definitive, and they're probably not going to theme the ride as immersive as they thought like when they were going to do it with the turntable. So that's quite unfortunate, but yeah. And then like I also was able to find like other documents like relating to rides, like the shipment records for from B&M to Fiesta Texas about the dive coaster and like other stuff. But besides that, I haven't had any like close like connections with like park executives or anything like that. But it's quite nice to hear that you were able to do those type of stuff.
Yeah, and that's also cool to hear that you've been able to make those connections. I just from my perspective, I'd be a little careful about like I guess you found documents and stuff so it works out, but like leaking stuff, but no, that's really cool that you've built those relationships. So that's great to hear.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alrighty.
That's nice.
So I think at this point, I'm gonna wrap it up. But it's been awesome talking to you,
Thank you.
and I
Really
really
appreciate it.
appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. It's an honor. What time is it over there in the States?
You know, for me, I'm in California. It's just before 9 p.m. For those people on the East Coast, it's almost midnight. So, but
Oh,
yeah,
it's 12 in the afternoon here, so like that isn't. I think the time in California is actually closer than being on the East Coast, like to Korea. So that is that is interesting as well.
it lines up. I mean, that actually would line up. So makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so once again, really appreciate you coming on, and
Thank you. Have
I'll
a
see
great
you.
day.
I'll see you next time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
It's been a good evening. Thank you.
Yeah, you too. Alrighty. Huge thanks to Lee for coming on. Once again, really cool to get a perspective from someone who is from somewhere different, especially South Korea. You know, that's definitely a unique place to talk to someone where like them being from there. So that was much appreciated. So huge thank you there. And we're gonna have our last viewer call-in of the night, Diet Pepsi Fan 1000 Vortex in the chat. I'm gonna ask if you're ready, and then we're gonna go. And then I know this is a coaster time stream. Considering how long this like sort of viewer call-in went, I'm probably just going to do a Q&A and head out. I have to go out of town tomorrow, so I have to be time sensitive, and it's also pretty late for those of you guys on the East Coast. So that's going to be the plan, and that's pretty much that. All right, Diet Pepsi fan, I'm going to bring you on in on the 3-second countdown. So we're going to go in 3, 2, 1. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's good to hear. And you can introduce yourself if you would like as well.
Okay. You like my profile, by the way?
I'm like seeing it on like a really tiny screen, so I can't tell what it is exactly, but it looks
It's a
nice.
line with Pepsi cans and my random anime characters.
Nice.
I made it on this app called Pixar.
I've heard of it, though. I've quite a few people use it, I think, so that's good to hear. But I guess my first question is for the news reactions. Was there any sort of news or announcement that piqued your interest or was interesting to you?
I was interested in Zambezi Zinger.
And like, what about it exactly?
Is it like a wooden coaster dedicated to the original Zambezi Zinger?
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. Like, it's the way they went about making a coaster similar to it. The fact that it's a wooden coaster is super interesting and different, but also creative. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And do you think that Matugani's gonna open next year at Lost Island?
I think it'll open next year. If it doesn't, like that, I mean, it's already. I don't want to pin too much blame on anyone here, but like Intamin, it's not a good look for them that it's taking them that long to like test it. Also, I just want to mention that your audio, like, if you can wear something like earphones or something, that'd be appreciated because it's a little echoey, but if you can't, that's all right.
Oh, sorry, it's just my fan.
Okay.
Anyways, what is he gonna ask me?
But like, yeah, just sort of any other thoughts on Zambezi Zinger?
Zambezi Zinger is a really good audition for 2023, and it's the first wooden coaster with a spiral lift hill. I've never seen it on a wooden coaster before. Usually I see it on Volairs and Scorchcoff Jetstars.
I was looking it up today. I believe, yeah, it's the only, at least according to RCDB, it's the only recorded wooden or hybrid coaster with a spiral lift based off what I could find. So definitely unique in that way.
And what do you think of Montezooma, the Forbidden Fortress?
I think it's going to be a really cool upgrade to an existing attraction. I was a little skeptical of it, but just with these, whatever they're going to do with the random launches, it sounds pretty cool. What are your thoughts on it?
My thoughts is it's pretty good. I like the retheme.
Yeah, for sure. I think they're also doing quite a bit with the theming and like this. I don't know if it's going to have like a true storyline or what it's going to be, but I'm sure it's going to look really nice when all is said and done, interior wise. So pretty exciting.
Do you think the RMC Wildcat's going to be announced soon?
If I had to guess, my assumption would be either during October or just after it. I think it'll probably be announced around then.
I'm going to think the name of Twisted Twizzlers or Uproar.
I'm hoping it's Twisted Twizzlers. It'd be so funny if it were actually that name. People have been wanting it forever, and it'd be funny.
Hershey Park does have a few coasters themed to candy, like Jolly Rancher Remix, Candemonium, and Cocoa Cruiser.
Yeah, it definitely fit in very well with what they're doing. So I kind of want to see it, but if they want to go with a different name, I understand it for sure. So that's definitely something that I'll be interested to see what they come up with or go with in terms of a name, for sure. But I guess if I can, I'll move on to the next thing. Do you have any like predictions or projects you'd like to see in the future, um, or think we could see in the future?
I know King Zion hasn't announced anything yet. I hope King Zion adds a Mac multi-launch or a Mac spinning coaster. Maybe like Sierra Sidewinder.
I actually think they could use another, like, even if it's a family spinner, I think that'd be a nice addition. But I think certainly I would also love to see a mock multi-launch. When I visited that park, the number one thing I was like saying in my head that I was thinking they should get was indeed a mock multi-launch. I think it'd be a really good ride for that park. So I definitely agree with you there.
Yep. And anyways, what do you think of New Punko Air Coaster?
The SLC at Lost Island, correct? Yeah.
Yes,
Um,
that one.
I know it's open. I can't remember what reviews were like for it. I don't know if they were good or not. I hope they are, but if it runs well, then that's a pretty good that's a pretty good coaster to have when you're just starting up, especially. Just it's a new park, so I think if it's running well, it's probably pretty fun, but I don't know if it is.
Oh, I forgot to mention about Cedar Point's Wild Mouse. It's actually getting a boardwalk section. Is the Pavillion going to replace Wicked Twister, and is Top Duel Dragster going to reopen next year?
So the Pavillion is on the Wicked Twister plot, so it is going to take over and replace the plot that Wicked Twister sat on. And as for Top Throw Dragster, we don't know that yet. There's been activity, there's been markers all over and near it, and we've seen the lights turn on, so people are hoping that this is a good sign. I am trying to take it as such, but really we don't know what it's going to be until they say something or we have some other piece of evidence that's like really concrete. So that remains to be seen. You there?
Oh, sorry, I was just thinking.
You're good.
By the way, was Fuji-Q Highlands new coaster supposed to open in 2022, but it didn't get delayed to 2023, which is next year?
I'd like to say it did get delayed. Yeah. I believe that happened.
Wait, are they adding like a motorbike coaster there?
Once again, it's technically not confirmed, but all the concept art and everything leads to it being a motorbike. So, probably.
Just like how Suzuka Circuit added GP racers in 2020.
GP Racer, was that the Mauer's, is that a Mauer Spike? I don't remember it.
I think it is a Mauer Spike coaster.
I just looked at it. Apparently it's made by a different manufacturer, but it's kind of I guess it's not powered, so that's interesting. So that's an interesting ride. But I think it has kind of the same track style almost. So this will be a little different. It's probably going to be more like a traditional intimate motorbike. Maybe if we're lucky, something even closer to Hagrid's in terms of like track design and whatnot, but we'll see.
Oh, about Park Warner Madrid's new coaster, a multi-launch. Is it going to be subdeed to Batman? Is it going to be like a clone of Velocicoaster or Islands of Adventure, or it will be a different layout?
Different layout from what I understand, and the Batman theme was confirmed recently. We don't know the name though. But what are your thoughts on that ride? It looks pretty insane.
Well, my thoughts. I think it's a good one. I think I picked a name for a Batman theme to be called Batman Night Flyer.
All right.
What are your thoughts on the last one, Flight of Courage?
I wrote it early in the day. I was the first person to write it on Passholder Preview. And I unfortunately only wrote it once because the line was super long, but I'll get more rides in the future. I thought it was pretty fun. It was definitely the weakest RMC I've done, but it was still a fun ride. I think it's a good fit at Magic Mountain. It's not super intense, which I think is a good thing for that park, considering a bunch of their coasters are really intense. But it does give some good airtime, which the park doesn't have a ton of coasters that focus on it. They really don't. So I think in that sense it was a good addition for the park, and it's a pretty fun ride overall, even if it's not something like earth-shattering like X2 or Twisted Colossus.
Oh, about Emma Home Park, Indiana Beach. I think they're getting a dryer looping coaster called American Dryer Looping. Is it going to open this year or next year?
I think they're still advertising it for this year. It probably next year. It's quite the project from what I've heard.
I mean, the best thing about it is it's at my home park, Indiana Beach. Also, Holiday World's my home park too.
That's pretty good. Indiana Beach and Holiday World. I mean, I loved Holiday World when I went, so that's pretty fantastic home park to have.
Well, I've been thinking that Indianapolis needs an amusement park because the only coaster they got is the combo at the Indianapolis Zoo. That's the only coaster they got there. They needed a big amusement park.
I don't necessarily think so because they're in Indianapolis is in pretty good driving distance between a bunch of different things in a bunch of different directions. It would be nice if they got at least something. I mean, even if it was like something kind of small or even like a little like almost like, I'm not going to say a fun spot park, but a park kind of like that, just so, you know, they can have a few pretty good coasters. So I definitely think that'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Alrighty. I'm gonna about wrap it up here, but if there's anything else you want to mention, now is the opportunity to do so.
What are your thoughts on Totius at that one park in Europe?
Tutatis looks really good. So that's a coaster I'm really excited for sure.
Pantheon?
It'll be interesting to see how it compares to it. I'm very curious to see how it's gonna run and how people are gonna respond to it, because Pantheon, it feels like, kind of has a mixed reaction. Some people think it's really good and other people were disappointed with it, so it'll be kind of interesting if this is kind of the same or if everyone's kind of on the same page and thinks it's amazing, like Velocicoaster. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Oh, by the way, in fall, I may go to Dollywood in the fall. It just depends.
If you do, I hope you have a great time and that the weather is on your side. It's a fantastic park, so and obviously I hope that lightning rod's open. So
yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to get the credit on that, and I'm gonna try to ride Big Bear Mountain next year when it opens. So, what are your thoughts on Big Bear Mountain?
As I mentioned, I think it's gonna be a really fun ride, and shoot, yeah, the ambassador said it earlier, but I agree with what he said. I think it's gonna surprise people. And now that he mentioned it, I do see similarities with it and Manta, which is a coaster I really like at SeaWorld San Diego. So I think it's going to be a very fun ride. It's going to have a few solid airtime moments for a family coaster and just kind of work around the scenery and nicely. And I assume the onboard audio and the story is going to be pretty decent as well. So I think it'll be a coaster that stands well on its own, but it's more there for the families. It's more there for the fun factor, I suppose. So I think it's going to execute in that way, but I think it's going to be a ride that a lot of people will enjoy.
Oh, and in 2023, 2024, I may go to Japan, may visit a few theme parks. I hope to get the Dodonpa credit if it's open.
That's the $1 million question of what's going to happen with that thing, but for your sake, I hope that works out.
I hope I
for
don't
sure.
break my spine on Dodonpa because it launches pretty fast.
Just have your head back and you'll be good.
Yeah, you should do that. I kept my head back on Backlot on Kings Island.
This will matter quite a bit more, but yeah, that's definitely key on Dodonpa is have your head back, for sure.
Yeah, or else your neck would hurt.
Yeah, to say the least. But I'm gonna, like I said, wrap it up here. Thank you so much for coming on. It's very much appreciated. And I'll see you next time.
Yeah, I'd really appreciate it. I'm the last person to join on this call.
Yep. So thank you so much for coming on, and see ya.
I'll see you later.
Oh shoot, I didn't think you were gonna say something. Sorry about cutting you off there, but once again, very much appreciate you coming on. Diet Pepsi fan, and it was great to hear about things, and I hope your trips all go well. Dollywood, and if you do go to Japan, those sound like pretty fun trips. So I hope all that goes great. I see the quack in here in the man. I guess sure. This is gonna. I guess we will do. I'll bring you on. I originally said that I was gonna cap it. With Diet Pepsi fan, but one more I think wouldn't hurt. So, Quacken, I'm gonna ask if you're ready, and I'll bring you on, and then I'll do probably a pretty short Q&A, and then wrap up the stream. So, because we are at almost 3 hours at this point. So, but hey, I guess even though I didn't go through the segments, I guess I can kind of save them. So, not the worst thing in the world. Less work for me. So, yeah, all good. Alrighty, so I'm gonna bring the Quacken on in 3, 2, 1. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Very well. Exciting week of announcements, and things are. It just came back from the trip to Atlanta, so things have been going well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I saw you've been going to a handful of new parks here recently. That's really cool. Yes, you said Dollywood. Did you go to over Georgia while you were
Yep,
there?
I went to over Georgia and Dollywood on this trip.
Oh, nice. I really enjoyed Dollywood, one of my favorite parks, and over Georgia. It's a good park. I'd say probably middle of the road Six Flags Park, but still good stuff.
I enjoyed both as well, and yeah, Dollywood very much impressed me in a lot of ways, so it was very good. So I guess I'll go to my first question, or my first thing. News or announcement reactions out of all the things that sort of has happened recently. What is the piece of news or the announcement that caught your interest?
One of the things that definitely caught my attention was obviously Dollywood's Big Bear Mountain. I think it'll be an interesting fit. It's definitely not the ride I would have gone with, but I think a lot of people are more concerned that it's going to be too similar to Fire Chaser, but I still think it'll be a fun ride with some good theming. And then Worlds of Fun yesterday, my home Cedar Fair Park, bringing back the Zambezi Zinger. I'm really excited for that ride. I'm really hoping I can get there for opening day. A lot of good stuff from the Cedar Fair chain that was announced yesterday. And one thing that was kind of omitted in a sense, was the fate of Top Thrill Dragster. I mean, they didn't confirm or deny anything, but it kind of makes you wonder if they're going to announce anything regarding Dragster at all.
Yeah, for sure. That was, I mean, some people are like, with the activity going on, they're thinking it's a good sign. And they're like, well, he did say it was their 18th coaster. So, you know. But, yeah, we really don't know. And it is, at this point, becoming a little, I mean, it already is concerning. But for next year, it's just kind of like, what's going on with this thing? I really want to know.
I think it's very concerning because, I mean, if you think about the past, Cedar Fair has acknowledged defunct coasters in their lineups before when they're announcing new stuff, or SB&O coasters, I should say. They've added those into their count in the past with, like, I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but it is something that they've done before, so.
Yep. Well, and we know Six Flags did it with Magic Mountain, not a separate thing, but yeah, sort of.
I remember that. When they announced West Coast Racers, they counted Green Lantern. Oh my gosh.
Except even they weren't even satisfied with calling it their 20th because it really didn't work out. So,
exactly, yeah. I think things just... gotta love Six Flags. Just so perfect.
yeah, that was definitely kind of funny. But circling back to Big Bear Mountain, that was announced the day after I went. So theoretically, if I timed it right, I could have seen the announcement. That was not going to happen, but would have been cool. It still was cool to see it regardless. I guess online because that's what I did. I can see why people are like it's too similar to Fire Chaser. I have seen that quite a bit, and to an extent, I certainly agree. But I think it's a good fit because you got a lot of families going there, and also when I went, I definitely noticed, and I heard this before, but there definitely seemed to be a lot of older visitors, like more like grandparents visiting with their grandchildren, and that's kind of a big deal. And this definitely feels like a ride that they could probably ride with their grandkids. So I think in that sense, and especially with them building up the resorts over there, which I fortunately was able to stay at the Dreammore, which is a rarity for me to stay at an on-site resort for a park, but was able to do it in that case.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've heard a lot of good things about the Dreammore Resort. I haven't had the opportunity to, but I've heard it's a really nice hotel.
It is really nice. I didn't have a ton of time in it, but it is really nice, and staff there was excellent, as was in Dollywood. But we asked one of them for restaurant suggestions in the general area, and they gave us a really good one that we really enjoyed. That was a little out of the way, off the beaten path. So would highly recommend the hotel if it makes sense pricing wise. We were a family of 4, so it made sense and for our situation. But no, it was really good.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you had a great time. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was fun. I guess the next thing I'll move on to is either predictions or something you would like to see in the future. Is there like a project that you could see happening or would like to see happening at some point in the amusement industry?
Well, that's really kind of hard because to think about it. I mean, I would love to see more B&M coasters added to Six Flags parks. I think we're going to see more of a trend with that. For example, like take Magic Mountain, for example. If they were going to remove one of their older aero coasters like Viper or Ninja, probably put like a B&M dive there. Like maybe it's just kind of a thought. I don't know if that's something they want to do. Like, and if they were going to do it at Magic Mountain, probably make it one of the larger ones, the 200-foot models, because it is their flagship park. I definitely would like to see more B&Ms, and not just dive coasters. Like wing coasters or stuff like that. And I also wouldn't mind to see more parks take a chance on the surf coaster model, see how that pans out if the one at SeaWorld Orlando is successful.
The surf coaster is an interesting one for me. I mean, for me, I'm not super excited for it. Maybe it's better. It'll probably be better than I'm expecting it to be. But to me, it's probably more likely that we'll be seeing more surf coasters than, say, the Vekoma Shockwaves or some of the other launch coasters models out there, at least in America. There's probably a good chance we'll see more surf coasters, but it is kind of interesting to see how that one will go and if other parks will jump in on it or not. So
I think a big factor with that would be cost. I mean, the Vekomas, they might be cheaper than a B&M surf coaster because the thing about B&Ms, they generally have a very high price tag. So that may make some smaller parks lean more towards the Vekoma project. So
yeah, it
is
is
a possibility.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I don't think we don't know the price point of the surf coaster. I don't think, but I would be curious because some of those launch coasters get really expensive. Like Intamin, we know their stuff is expensive. Mach is also pretty crazy. I mean, Copperhead, the cost was a little inflated due to the theming, but still, it's just like, whoa.
Same with Time Traveler at Silver Dollar City. That was, even though it's an extreme spinner, it was still insanely expensive.
Yeah, so it is interesting in that way. So I would be curious what the price of a B&M Surf is compared to those other models. We know Vekoma is significantly cheaper based off what we've seen, but stuff probably gets more expensive if they were to go to the States because they have to ship it now overseas, but probably not enough to matter. So
that's true. I mean, that's definitely something that will drive up the cost.
Yeah, but probably, I mean, B&M, Mach, and Intamin all have to do the same thing. So
yes, they do. Premier, so, yeah. They don't have to worry about that.
Yep. And I'm sure they've gotten projects and will keep getting more because they aren't as expensive as the others for sure as well. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even if they don't pack a serious punch as some other companies, they still are pretty cheap options.
Oh, my brother just jumped on the stairs. I'm like, what the heck happened? In the background. Sorry about that, but yeah, it'll be kind of interesting to see where this goes for the new B&M Surf Coaster and just launch coasters in general, because it's like we're seeing all these different ones, so it's pretty interesting. If there's anything else you'd like to throw out there or mention, now would be the chance before I wrap this up. So if there's anything else you'd like to go into, go for it.
Just want to say it's always a pleasure joining your streams. I know I kind of jumped in a little late, kind of last minute.
You're good.
Just been kind of busy, that's all. I mean, just had a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, you're not alone. This stream got delayed 2 hours, so
wow.
From when it was originally supposed to start.
I saw it was originally supposed to start at like 6. I didn't know it was 2 hours, but then I see the timestamp. I'm like, oh wow, that was 3 hours ago that it started. Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, my bad. You were gonna go. You were gonna say something. I accidentally cut you off.
Oh no. I'm just saying I was kind of surprised. Oh, it has been 3 hours and it was delayed a little bit. It's 11 o'clock over here where I'm at. So.
Yep, that time's out. So yeah, already. But it's been awesome having you on again. Really appreciate you coming on, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, definitely. You have a good one.
Alrighty. See ya. Alrighty. My brother apologizes for the stare thing. That's funny. It like kind of shook the room up a bit, so I'm like, whoa, what the heck happened? But huge thanks to Quacken for coming on here. Definitely, you know, seeing what's gonna it definitely would be nice to see B&M like have a resurgence within the Six Flags chain, and I guess in America at this point, because there has been a little bit of a break. I can definitely understand why people would want to see that. And the Surf Coaster is definitely going to be an interesting model to sort of keep an eye on for sure. So that's going to be that. I'll do one last sort of end of stream Q&A. Once again, just visited over Georgia and Dollywood for the first time, so if you have any questions related to that, let me know. And I'll probably wrap up the stream in like 10 to 15 minutes here. So sorry that we didn't have much in segments. It was pretty much just news and Q&A and viewer call-in, but the viewer call-ins go for a while, so honestly I think I might kind of do something to sort of reflect that, and to make that like sort of I mean, it already is the main point of these streams I do, but just kind of keep that as the main focus, but really drive in on it. So that's the plan. Alrighty, but anyone who has any questions in the chat, let me know. And then, like I said, I'll wrap this up in 10 to 15 minutes. Pretty late, obviously, for most of you. So, yeah. Alrighty. I'm curious. There were some news things that came out, like, today that I didn't put in. I think there was only one thing. Like, I know Blackpool Pleasure Beach, they just, they actually filed a trademark for a giant wheel, which is interesting. I don't know what's going on there, but that's something that happened. Won't cover in the next stream, but I guess I'll mention it here. But it doesn't look like there was much else. Seems like Cedar Fair got a good package deal with Zamperla for Carowinds and Cedar Point. Wonder if a double heart might be possible down the line. That would be really cool to see. Maybe so. Although, Cedar Fair, I'm trying to remember, I'm pretty sure they work with Zamperla for flat rides and stuff. In the past, I'm not as good as keeping track of flat rides though, but getting a coaster was definitely eye-opening from them, so that's very good to see. But I would love to see a double heart at some point within the chain. Any more park plans for the rest of 2022? You know, I've had a big summer, 4 new parks. I've by far exceeded my new credit record in a single year already. I have, I think, 37 new credits, something like that, which for me is a lot. Went from 96 credits to 133. So that's obviously a pretty big jump. And in terms of new park plans, there's honestly not a ton, and I'm pretty cool with that. I'll probably revisit Magic Mountain. You know, that's kind of a given, it seems like. Just with having the season passes and everything. And Not Scary Farm's probably going to happen. Outside of that, not really any plans right now. Could always change. I had no idea I was going to go to Dollywood or Holiday World or Kings Island heading into this year. And even over Georgia was a question mark. So we'll see what happens, but it's probably going to be kind of not much happening, which, like I said, I'm fine with. Had a very busy summer, so we'll see what happens there. But you never know. You never know what opportunities could come up there. Like, actually, you know, like even something like San Diego, I think would be kind of cool, because actually, I don't think I'd go to SeaWorld. before they got their new family launch, or maybe I would. I don't know. But I got a few places I'd like to visit there. Coaster and not coaster related, so you never know. Yeah. Trying to see what else I missed. Looking back through the chat. Yeah, Fun Spot Atlanta is down to weekend operations. The only weeks that they are doing more than that is Thanksgiving break and winter break, which is also why I'm thinking that they probably won't open the ride this year. It's probably going to get delayed till next year. I'd be pretty stunned if anything else happened otherwise. Best Cedar Fair Park and worst. My favorite Cedar Fair Park I've done thus far is Kings Island. And then if you were to rank it, it'd go Kings Island, Cedar Point, Knott's Berry Farm, and then California's Great America. So out of the ones I've been to, Great America would be my least favorite. And, well, technically, actually, Gilroy Gardens isn't even a Cedar Fair Park anymore, even though I visited it when I was really young and can't have a fair evaluation on it. So it's not even one that is in the running anymore. And I guess Great America won't be for long either. But yeah, Kings Island best, Great America worst. But even I still like Great America, so not too bad there. Alrighty, but any more questions? Let me know in the chat or any like last sort of comments, and I'll wrap it up here. If we don't get anything, I'll just kind of wrap it up here in like a minute. But we'll see what happens. Let's see. I see. Okay, the chat has something. Now it got upgraded on here. Did any new coaster I rode this year top Coast Rider as my least favorite? Yes, but not where you would have expected. So I did Kings Island. Nothing out of California did it. In fact, there weren't really too many bad coasters outside of California. Like the ones that were bad were that I rode. As dumb as it sounds, Whistle Punk Chaser at Dollywood. I did ride it, and I've said in the past I do not like that kiddie coaster model, and but I hadn't ridden it in 8 years, so I'm like, why not? Yeah, no, it sucks. Even for kiddie coaster standards, it's actually bad. And then I also thought that the Mine Train at Over Georgia was quite bad. Actually, I mean, that was kind of expected, but it wasn't very good. And Flight of Fear at Kings Island was surprisingly not good. So I'd say those were pretty bad, but none of them topped Coast Rider. What did top it was Boomerang at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. I rode it 8 years ago. I remember not enjoying it, but not thinking it was the worst thing in the world. So I re-rode it. And man, it was really bad. Now I got, it has the over-the-shoulder restraints, but I got like really stapled where it was like really uncomfortable in my shoulders. It was really digging in, and the coaster basically ended up giving me a migraine. So, which lasted a few days. So it was that pretty much makes it the worst of the worst. You could argue, I might argue that Coast Rider is more painful in the moment when you're riding it, but when you're done, at least I haven't had too many things. It hasn't been like, the pain hasn't like lasted for like even hours. So Boomerang is kind of special in that regard, and it's kind of caused me to swear off boomerangs that are not that have those hard plastic over the shoulder restraints. I can't risk it. I don't want to be feeling bad during like a trip far away. So yeah, and it's also, I didn't do in Vertigo for that reason, which I considered doing it, but at Kings Island, but I was just like, I wasn't going to risk it. Because I had quite a bit of ways to go on that trip. So, yeah. Alrighty, we've hit 12:29 Eastern. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Huge thanks to everyone who came on for the viewer call-in. It was awesome having you on here. And, of course, for all of you watching either live or recorded, I appreciate you checking this out. So with all of that said, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time here on Coaster Hour.